It's about to start. We'll talk about code or whatever we'll talk about today. It's about to start, so please hang tight while I check that everything is okay. Sound check, camera check, lights check. How's my hair? Oh, wait, I don't have any hair. Maybe put some pants on and I am good to go. So get ready wherever you are, 'cause this stream is about to start. Get ready wherever you are, 'cause this stream is about to start.
All right, how's it going, everybody? Long time no see. I've been real busy, and it's summer. It's really hot. It's hard to stay indoors here in BC, Canada, where I have now moved to. With me, I got Leandro. How you doing, Leandro?
Hello. Hello, Arya. Do I still have it? No. Hello, Arya. It's great to see you back here.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I feel bad. I've not been keeping the channel alive, but such is life, you know. And hopefully people are enjoying their summertime and not watching Reaper tutorials to an extent, you know.
I guess there is this pressure, right? Every content creator deals with this. In every other profession, you would just take regular breaks, but on YouTube, if you do that, then you start getting fewer views, and maybe even the subscriber count is affected. So people are like, oh, I cannot stop, I have to at least batch things up and then upload while I'm away, and then it's a whole lot of stress that no one needs.
Yeah all of that to make like $5 each video. Get out of here.
You're making that much? I'm not even in the program. I'm not in the content creator program. I don't have enough public view hours.
Right, because you have the subscribers now.
Yeah. It is crazy, right? I have a thousand, I guess at this point, like 1,200 people who watch me do code and electronics weirdness. So it's amazing. I'm amazed that there are that many people, actually.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's definitely more. I was thinking, like, you should be, maybe you are, but, like, the Reaper forums people would love you. So you should go and post there. Because I think a lot of people, like, there talk about some of the stuff you do, like, especially with, like, scripting and things like that. I feel like that's where to be. And
True.
yeah, but you'll make the 4,000. I think, like, for me, I got my 4,000 when I did a 12-hour live stream. So if you ever want to stream for 12 hours, that could work in your favor.
I guess maybe. Yeah, but I'm not too worried about this. And even the Reaper forum, it's a good tip. And I posted some of my stuff there. Mm-hmm. But I am not the kind of person who is going to constantly remember people that they need to watch my stuff. I mean, people who care about this deeply, we already know them. We talked to most of them in our conversations with Reaper people. So I could be posting more on Reddit and on the Reaper forums. And when I did that, it worked. People watched and subscribed. But I think it's okay for me to just continue doing this for a while before I try to find more people. And I am not worried about monetizing my channel because it's only $5 a video at most anyway. So who cares, right?
Yeah. So I did an experiment on that where in March, I didn't post any of my videos. And I didn't really see a difference in terms of, like, watch times and things like that. So it's probably like not a major. I think for the beginning of the channel, I don't know if I hadn't posted, I don't think anybody would have watched it. But yeah, now that the channel is like in motion, now I did corrupt my data by posting less often than I used to. But yeah, like once you got like some viewers, I feel like you don't have to like post everything all the time,
Yeah. All right. So, what are we going to do today?
So I hear that you got an SM58 you want to mod.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now there's a few different mods of like the SM57 that I know, and one is removing the transformer, and one is adding a resistor, and there's even mods where people like replace the transformer with like a telefunken transformer. I've seen the transformerless mod version of the mic in a studio, and they were like, oh, it has like better transient response and it has better low end. I saw people use them on a snare. Sounded good. We didn't do like a A/B side by side of the mics for me to kind of get like a very kind of objective difference going. But people there were like, it sounds good. It sounded good. I don't know if with a regular 57 it would have sounded as good. It had something for sure. So that's one. And then there's a resistor adding mod that I've never heard like the sound of, and I think that's what you want to do, right?
Yeah, I was thinking of doing both. Actually, the main point of this is just having fun, not that it will sound better. I think it's probably a pointless exercise anyway. If you don't like the sound of a microphone, get a different one. Don't try to make things up. But I don't know, it's fun to tinker with electronics, so that's a hobby that I'm picking up since we last talked. And I thought we could give it a try. I think it'll
definitely change the sound. Like, it may not like improve the sound, but it will change the sound. So if you have a few of the same mic, and most studios have like 10 SM57s or 10 SM58s, it's no problem for them to mod one, and they will probably like it. And if they don't like it, like, there will be situations where you would reach for it. Fotis is saying that I'm on the left channel and you are just on the right. So maybe we can fix that. Or is that how you intended it to be?
No. From my side, here is what I see. No, this is not what I see. Here is what I see. Hang on. Screen. Yay, this is what I see. So I see you. My microphone is supposed to be mono. And I see that your microphone is slightly heavier on the left, but it's not just on the left.
I'm sending you a mono source from Black Hole, and it's mono, like it's showing me that it's going out mono. But I think what the issue may be. I just don't know how to fix it. No, that's not the issue. Because I thought maybe like my dry no effects thing is being like summed and routed to you, so that the left and right channel both have the effects, the post effects audio, and then the left channel has some like the dry also going in, but that's not it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I guess what I can do.
Mono.
I guess what I can do is force you to be mono by doing this.
Yeah.
And
I think that'll do the trick.
That makes you mono, and I think I am already mono because I see everything mono on my side, and I didn't change any of my setup. So anyway, if it's still an issue, let me know in the chat, please.
Yeah, let us know, Fotis. Hello, Andres, and hello, Mage. How's it going? Long time no chat. I'm glad all of y'all are here. Let us know if you've ever modded a mic. And how did it work out? How did it work out for you? So we're doing the resistor mod today, Leandro, right?
I guess we can try to do both. We'll see. It depends
Okay,
on how well it
interesting.
goes, but we can start with the resistor because it's probably simpler, and we can try
Cool.
the transformer. It shouldn't be too hard to. But I guess my main
It is the part of it where you have to dip it in boiling water sounds just so weird and wrong to me. Like, but people do it like it's fine. Like, but just conceptually to dip a piece of electronic equipment in water, I'm like, how in boiling water, how will it survive? But it does, and some people use a hair dryer, which takes longer, but it's like less messy because you won't get like goopy half melted glue all over the place.
Yeah, I was thinking of sidestepping this problem because if you want to put the microphone back together, then you need to melt the glue inside and get rid of the transformer. But if you are just interested in what I am interested in, which is to hear the differences and perhaps measure the differences, then I think it's okay for me to not reassemble the microphone. I know that some of the sound of the microphone comes from its physical construction, but I think we can sidestep that and not melt the glue inside the body of the microphone and just have the capsule and point that at the speaker. So yeah, many people have done these kinds of mods on YouTube, and I thought that what we could do differently is we could try to measure at least the frequency response of the microphone, because I know that both mods are supposed to change the frequency response. They are also going to change
Yeah.
other aspects like the gain and whatnot, but no one did these kinds of tests that I could find anyway. So I thought we could try that and also learn how one does these kinds of measurements.
Yeah, I think the transformerless mod makes the low end heavier and improves the transient response. And then the resistor boosts the high end. And some people are like, oh, it starts working like a condenser, like it becomes more sensitive. But I don't know about all of that. But definitely that the frequency response will change. And definitely it'll be different. And yeah, we'll just do a side by side record. Maybe we can have you like record your voice or something. What I would normally do if I'm comparing two mics is I like just play white noise out of my phone. I know this is a very ghetto approach. So I put white noise from my phone and I put it in front of one mic and I put it in front of the other mic, and then I just look on an EQ. But you have a room EQ wizard.
Yeah, I wanted to give that
going.
a try. I am learning about this software. I talked about it last meeting of the C++ study group, and it is super deep, but I think that we can try to use this. I have never used it for this kind of purpose. I used it before to measure some circuits, like I did a passive low-pass filter, and I measured that. But now we are really talking about measuring a microphone and a speaker. So I don't know how well this is going to work, but my idea is before we start, we first put the microphone in front of a speaker and do one measurement. And that measurement, I'm not in anechoic. What is the name? Anechoic. I'm not in one of those chambers.
Anechoic chamber.
Yeah, I'm not in one of those. And I don't have the perfect microphone, the perfect speakers. I don't have a measurement microphone. But I think that it all washes out because I am interested in what the mods are going to do. I'm interested in the difference between this initial measurement and measurements that we can make after we mod. So
yeah,
I thought I could just...
So almost all those things are irrelevant because they're going to be the same. So they'll show in the comparison.
Yeah.
The same. Yeah.
And I will try to be... it's not going to be a scientific thing. It's going to be one of those ghetto things that you talked about. But I will try to do this as fair of a comparison as I can. And doing these kinds of measurements is part of the fun for me. So that's what I wanted to try.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I'm going to switch to this so that we can see, or I guess let's not. Let's start by going here. And this is my second camera. Let's start with the physical setup that we would need to do a fair measurement to begin with. So I think that what I want to do is probably have this over here. So, fancy. So I have my microphone and a speaker, and it's very professionally propped on top of toilet paper. But I don't know exactly how to position, how far to position this, where to point it at, and these kinds of things. And have you done these kinds of things before?
I think, again, the point is to keep it the same so that the distance isn't part of the variable.
Fair.
But yeah, like I would say, like, make it like 15 centimeters, right? Like 6-ish inch. That's where normally you would put a mic like the SM58 from the source. If it's not vocals, if it's vocals, then like go super close. So yeah, that's what I would do. Either like literally an inch or 6 inches.
Okay,
Like
I
that.
guess this, I don't have a ruler here with me today, but I have this, and it's roughly 10 centimeters.
Right.
Something like
Cool.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Again, as long as it's the same, I think, that's what you need.
so something like this will do. It's pointing at the center of the cone of the speaker. And then let's try to do a measurement. So I will switch to the screen. And this is Room EQ Wizard as it comes out of the box. I haven't done any configuration yet. But let's dive into the settings. So the device that I want to use...
This is a free version, right?
It is the free version, yeah. The Pro upgrades are
Cool.
here.
Cool.
It's not open source, but it is free. Right. So I think the default interface is not going to work for me because I don't see my inputs and outputs from my device. So I guess I need to select my audio interface. And I'm not going to touch the buffer. Then default output. Speaker. Interesting. And default input, microphone. Interesting.
That is pretty interesting.
I was expecting to see 1, 2, 3, and 4 the same way I see in other
I wonder
places. So
if the meters on the side, are they supposed to be live? Like, could you just do a quick sound check and look at those meters on the side?
I think we are going to do that, but I first want to set things up as best as I can before I do that, because I will need to mute my microphone while I do this. Otherwise, you'll be hearing very loud noises.
Craziness, yeah.
Yeah, so I will, for the benefit of the stream, I'll try to do the setup as best as I can. Then I will turn off my microphone and turn on the speaker.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so these are 6 channels of my audio interface. That makes sense. I have 6 channels going out, I think. I think that the last 2 are the feedback, not feedback, what is it called? The loopback. And these 4 are actual outputs there. And this speaker that I have on my desk is going to channel 1. So I want left. Sounds about right. So I guess I will put left here, and the timing reference.
That's your output, though.
That's right. My speaker is this.
Ah, okay.
That's my output.
Yeah.
And the timing reference, I guess I will just leave as this, because as far as I understand from having read this, is that if you have 2 microphones and 2 speakers, then you could have one to do the test and another to do just clicks to sync things up, to compensate for delays. But I don't have that kind of setup. I have a single speaker here on my desk. So I'll just leave this as the same, and I guess it will do the right thing. And then when it comes to microphones, I have 12 options. That seems about right, because my audio interface has 12 inputs if you expand it with another piece of hardware that I don't have. But the microphone that we are talking about, the one on my desk, is microphone number 1, supposedly. So we should be able to hear something. But I don't want this to be too loud. So I guess I'm going to go to the sound generator, and I will pick something very low in level, like -60. And it is going to the speaker. And I guess I will play this. Oh, it would like access to my microphone. Okay, you don't hear this on the stream, but I hear it here on my left of my headphones. So that's working. It's just now that I will turn off my microphone so that I can turn on the actual speaker, because I don't want any kind of feedback on the audio of the stream. So yeah, I will turn off my microphone and I will do the test with the speaker, and I will let you know if it worked.
Sure. Well, Leandro's doing that. Hi again, Mike. Hi, Arjan. What are we? Yeah, we're modding an SM58 mic that Leandro has. I hope me talking doesn't mess up Leandro's thing, but he looks like he's doing his thing. And then we're going to use this software called Room EQ Wizard to compare them. And Room EQ Wizard is free, so you should check it out. It's for like calibrating your speakers, making like measurements for your room acoustics, finding out like standing waves and things like that in your room. But also, I think you can kind of measure the frequency response of mics and stuff with it. So that's what we're doing, just to update y'all. How did that go, Leandro?
It worked perfectly. So now I guess we need to move on to do an actual measurement. And you were talking about Room EQ Wizard. It can be used for measuring room acoustics. So I guess that's what it was created for. But you can also use it to measure hardware. Like if you have a hardware compressor, you can run tests using Room EQ Wizard to calibrate and also to see stuff like distortion. And
nice.
And you can measure the frequency response of microphones. You can measure the frequency response of speakers if you have a special measurement microphone. So it is very deep, as you can probably tell by the interface. It is actually great, and the documentation is good too. Yeah, it looks
awesome.
Yeah.
At my work, we use a lot of like analog gear, just because I think, like they had a lot of analog gear and they don't see the need to upgrade. It's kind of funny, but yeah, they also have their own software for measuring and calibrating, but it's like a very simplified version of this. You just calibrate like your meters with like whatever recording devices you have, and they got like analog compressors and stuff. But it's very funny in 2022 to be going like back to analog.
And what kinds of compressors are we talking about? The gold standards like the 1176 and LA2As?
Mostly because they do like non-music stuff, so they do events. Their compressors are not anything that I had seen before in my life. They're very corporate looking, like literally a black box with like 4 inputs and 2 outputs kind of deal. One of them is a Yamaha compressor. I don't remember the name of the model. Oh yeah, GC 2020. It's just a black box with lots of knobs on it. Sounds good.
JC 2020?
GC 2020.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Not maps. Images. Okay.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
All right. Something else that I didn't do, but I need to, is to see if the microphone is picking this sound up. Because I tested that it's coming out of the speakers, and it is. But let's now bring in the scope and well, I guess channel 1 will be that. And if I start recording, then I should see some input here. And I do see some input here. I'm just tapping on the microphone. And that's the microphone on my desk. So it's picking up that sound. Great. So it seems like I have everything I need to start this measurement.
Mike says that he's already modded a PG48 and replaced. So you replaced, I guess, Mike, did you replace the capsule or did you replace the transformer or what? Tell us more. Should have had Mike on here.
Yeah. Right. So I guess let's get into this measurement tab. And I have not calibrated my SPL metering, but I don't think I care because I am not interested in that. I'm interested in the differences between stuff. So I can look at this in dBFS. I don't need to look at it in SPL. So I'll continue anyway. And then, yeah, let's make absolutely sure. So what's going to happen here in this measurement is that my speaker is going to play a sine sweep. My microphone is going to pick it up, and then it's going to draw the response curve of the microphone before any kind of mod. Let's double check that all the settings are okay. Doing this at -12 seems reasonable, from 0 Hertz to 20 kilohertz. And it's going to be a sine sweep. This sample rate, the input will be microphone 1 and the output is speaker left. Okay, I think I am ready to turn off the other microphone I'm speaking into and try to do this measurement. Yeah, okay, I will go ahead and do that.
Mike says, "Oh, you replaced the whole mic. Cool. So basically, it's just a Lewitt in like the body of a Shure. Interesting. Why? Why? And were you happy with the results? I'm not. Lewitt, you know, I love the brand. They really need to work on their model names because who's gonna memorize what that is?" So let me just look up the MTP550DM. Okay, cool. I've seen these. Lewitt is a Warren Huarty brand, Mike. Are you getting some free deals and things like that? And also let us know how your drum editing thing is going. Like what kind of reception you're getting. I'm excited to know. And for those who don't know, Mike has a drum editing in Reaper program on Produce Like a Pro. Let me find a link for that and throw it on here. Whoa, I heard a feedback. Are you back, Leandro?
Okay, I am back.
Okay, when you're doing measurements and I'm talking, it doesn't mess with you, eh?
That's why I came here to Reaper and muted you, and that's when I messed up. I messed up, and I sent you some loud noises in the middle, but it's fixed now. I have 100 knobs that I have to tweak to make this work for the stream, for you, for everything to work. But I just sent one loud noise so far. I am happy, and I did a measurement. And, but of course, it's okay for you to be talking. It's even better because people don't have to just watch me play with 100 knobs. This is the measurement we made, and it seems to be consistent with what I would expect from my microphone, from the SM58, where it is relatively linear on this region. Not quite, but relatively. And then it gets crazy over here. That if you look at the Shure provided frequency response for the mic, it kind of looks like this.
Very interesting. Let me look at it a little more. So, sorry, remind me, or maybe you said, okay. The green is the phase and the red is cool.
Yeah, I guess the phase doesn't matter that much in this case, so I can turn it off.
Right.
And
there we go.
Yeah, and now I made this instead of SPL, which is not even calibrated, so the y-axis didn't make a lot of sense in that case, but the dBFS does make sense. And then over here, we know that, I guess I can pull up, right? I'm mentioning the SM58 frequency response provided by Shure. Of course, they smooth out the data.
Yeah, they just kind of smoothened the line,
And this is what you get on like the manual. And they smoothed this a whole lot, but the shape of the curve looks like what we got. Can I put both of them on the screen? No, I cannot.
So around, where is it? Like around 8K. Okay, we do have a dip. Then we have another dip on the SM. It kind of looks like one dip. Oh no, they do have another mini dip there. Yeah, but you see how like between 100 and 1,000, it's like a line, and then the line goes up near the high end. So in this frequency response, it feels like the low end is up, and then it kind of stays semi up. You know what I mean? So the highest peak is at around 150 hertz, and then in the frequency response that they are showing us, the high end around like between 1,000 and 10,000 seems a lot higher than the 150 hertz like peak. But here it doesn't look like that.
Yeah. In fact,
so what up with that?
In fact, this kind of frequency response resembles more what I hear when I hear this microphone. I hear a lot of this bump. Perhaps I put the microphone too close to the sound source, so we are hearing some of the proximity effect, because they don't say how far the microphone was when they were doing this measurement. Yeah, but I hear
exactly,
and that's what actually made me buy a different microphone, because I could hear this heavy low end that was completely out of control as I move around. You can probably, I'm going through an SM58 right now, and you can maybe hear how the low end is out of control when I move about. And then I got a different microphone that doesn't have this kind of problem. I find that the proximity effect is much more controlled there. Anyway, this is more in line with what I hear than this. But anyway, let's save
Very
this.
Interesting.
I guess I will save this in, let's make a new folder here, SM58. And this is our baseline. File name, baseline. Save. And we will be able to take this baseline in account when doing the next measurements. There is this calibration file stuff that I think we can load that measurement we just made into the calibration, and then it will not be taking in account the next measurement. Let's put this to test, and I will do a second measurement with the same setup, because first I'm interested in knowing if this cancellation is going to work out, and second because I'm interested in knowing how much we can repeat tests without other stuff affecting the measurement.
Oh, yeah, interesting. I was going to say that as well, yeah.
How repeatable is this measurement? And probably there is a smarter way of doing this in Room EQ Wizard, but I guess the way that I'm going to do it is a simple one. I'll just pretend that this is the calibration of my sound card. And, no, it's not available from here. So can I make a calibration file from this measurement?
Well, I also feel like the calibration would affect the absolute readings in terms of numbers, but would it actually affect the curve? You know what I mean? Like the curve, even if you're not calibrated, so it will move up and down, but the shape, will it change?
I think that the shape will change, yes. That has been my experience playing around with this before. But before I was actually doing a sound card measurement. I literally had a cable between the output and inputs of my audio device. But yeah, let's pretend that this is the right thing. It's not. Any notes, baseline, and then choose a calibration file. Well, baseline, oops, I misspelled it, but anyway. So now...
Sounds German now.
Yeah, so now Room EQ Wizard thinks that my audio interface has this curve. So I can probably delete this. I can always reopen it, okay, Aria? I saved it. I know I am over the leader.
Okay.
I saved it. But let's do another measurement. And I will do the whole setup that I need to do the measurement. See you in a bit.
Cool. I'll check some of the comments. Oh, Arjun says the scales are different. Yeah, I guess in the frequency response is dB, which, I mean, when they say dB, are they talking about dBFS or are they talking about dBSPL? Or dBu, or I don't know. So that would be a cool thing. Mage says my first mic was a Pile PD78. Cool. Okay, and then you have a Lewitt 440. Yeah, I've not bought a Lewitt mic yet. I find them a bit overpriced, to be honest. But maybe one day. Maybe Lewitt send me some mics. Like they're watching. Get out of here. Fatis says, I finally got a Reaper license. All right. I was thinking that I should probably get the $200 Reaper license. Yeah, so I was thinking about doing that. And then I was like, you know what? I'll do it when Reaper 7 comes out, which, you know, at the rate of updates would be something like next year. Take my money, Reaper. You're the best. All right, you're back.
So here's the second measurement. It is not perfect, but I mean, this is probably my room. At these low frequencies, you can expect my room to have modes and interference and blah, blah, blah. And over here, it gets a bit of out of hand too, but that's probably the anti-aliasing filter stuff kicking in. But for the most part, for the part that matters, it looks pretty flat. It looks okay enough to me.
Sorry, so what are we looking at now? We're looking at your speaker response?
So the green line is the same measurement we did last time, same setup, same everything. And so when the green line is above or below 0, or I guess above or below minus 40 in this case, but when it gets out of shape, that is stuff that my test cannot be considered repeatable, right? I repeated the test and the results came out different. When it is flat, which it is for the most part, for most of the spectrum, we can say that the test is repeatable. So let's not trust too much whatever happens between 60. Let's not trust too much any noise that we get over here. But for the most part, we can sort of trust my little ghetto setup.
What's the black lines? So that's the second test?
No, the black line is... Oh, hang on. I'm not actually sure. I think that the black line is the actual measurement and the green line is the measurement compensated with my baseline.
Oh, I see. So it's a comparative response of the two.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's great. Yeah, we'll call it fine. Because, I mean, here's the thing, too. If the differences from modding this are within, say, 1 dB in any frequency band, then the mod is absolutely worthless given the trouble they have to go through to do it. So we're looking at really like tangible ass differences, right? So this is great.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to start with the resistor or do you want to start with the transformer?
Feel like the resistor is the less messy option, but up to you.
All right, let's do the resistor. So first we need to compute what value of resistance we need. There is actually a formula for this.
Fun.
I guess I can...
I know the answer, but I want to know the formula.
Oh, you know the answer?
Well, I know a answer, I guess. So yeah, let's do the formula and then I'll reveal.
Okay, so here's what I know. What I'm going to do is... I'm first going to zoom into my drawing. This is what I'm going to do first.
Mage is asking what speaker are you using, Leandro?
I'm using Adam Audio TV4, something like that. Does that ring a bell?
Those are great. I know Adam Audio is like A7 and A4. Could it be A4?
Well, okay, give me a moment. I will find out, because I have the manual for this thing on my computer. Hang on.
Oh, you have the T4V, right? It has the like bronzy looking tweeters that I don't understand why they look like the way they do. They look like a solar panel.
You are correct. And yes, that's the one I have. Let me see. T-Series, T... something V. Oh, come on. Do they print this on
I
the
guess
speaker?
it's T4V if it's 4
Yeah.
inches, which I think yours are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So there's
Right.
your answer.
So here's what I know. The microphone will see some impedance. It will see some resistance trying to drive my audio interface. My microphone is going to pick up sound waves. It's going to transform the sound waves into electricity. The electricity is going to be measured by the audio interface. And the measurement on the audio interface presents some resistance. It presents some impedance. And on modern audio interfaces, it's a relatively high impedance, a relatively high resistance. And that's what you want. You want the resistance to be high because you don't want a lot of electricity going through the audio interface. You want to measure, but you don't want to power the audio interface with the microphone. So you want the impedance to be high so that the current is low and your microphone is not working too hard. But so there is this formula to, come on, yeah, okay. So the circuit is going to look like this. We have our microphone, and it is connected to the audio interface through 3 cables. One of them is pin number 1 on an XLR cable. That's ground. The second,
hot.
The second is hot, and the third is cold. So hot and cold are sending the same signal, but out of polarity. So they are the same signal, but inverted. And then on the audio interface, they're going to be subtracted from one another to recreate the original source, with the intent that whatever interference happens, like radio signals and whatever else, maybe I'm running my XLR cable next to a power line. So whatever interference happens will happen in both the hot and the cold, but they are 180 degrees out of phase. They're out of polarity. So when they are subtracted, the interference will be subtracted, but the signal will come out cleanly. So that's what the differential pair here is doing. And then it's going to get into my audio interface over here. And the audio interface is going to just connect ground to its ground. Nothing surprising there. And it will put both the hot and the cold over some kind of circuit, most probably an op-amp kind of thing. I was looking at the schematics for my audio interface, and it seems to be just a regular op-amp. But the point of this is that whatever circuit is here, it offers some resistance. And that's the impedance that I was talking about before. And then you can pretend that what's happening inside this op-amp here, it's not really an op-amp, so pretend that it is, in this context, just the cables going in and there is a bit of a resistor in there. That's the kind of circuit that we are looking at. And then what we are interested in is this resistance. I'm going to call this the resistance of the audio interface. And the modification that we are going to do is to decrease this resistance. Because typically, as I said, we want this resistance to be high because we want the amount of current going through to be low. So we want the pipe to be narrow for less water to flow through, so to speak. And in modern audio interfaces, this is a high resistance. But the microphone supposedly was designed in a time when this resistance from circuits that would be picking up the sound of the microphone, the resistance was lower. So what they say is that the resistance that audio equipment used to offer was around 600 ohms. I'm using the wrong term, okay? I'm using the word resistance when I should be saying impedance most of the time. So when you hear me say resistance, I'm probably meaning impedance. So the impedance of this circuit is around 600, or the resistance of old pieces of gear, the input resistance would be around 600 ohms. And the microphone was designed with this kind of impedance in mind. But that's not the actual impedance of my audio interface. I looked at the specs, and I think it's around 2.7 kilo ohms. That's what my audio interface is actually presenting as impedance. I'll double check the value real quick. I can just look up.
What's the difference between impedance and resistance?
Great question.
Somebody just told me that's what British people call resistance British people call impedance and Americans call it resistance, but maybe not. I don't know.
So, to the best of my knowledge,
sounds like too easy.
Resistance is for direct current, and impedance is for alternating current. So, in this case, we are talking about the signal from a microphone that is going up and down. It represents a sound waves, right? So it's going up and down. So it's alternating current. And that is, in this case, impedance. So it is trying to resist the flow of alternating current as opposed to resisting the flow of direct current. And there are more things to talk about when it comes to impedance, because it's actually not measured with just one number. It's a complex number. So it has an imaginary part, and it gets tricky. But to simplify, impedance is the word you use when you're talking about alternating current, which we are.
Cool.
Right. So I just checked here on the tech specs for the audio interface that I have, and I have the wrong number. The input impedance of the microphone is 2.8 kilohertz, kilo ohms. And there are ways to measure the impedance of the audio interface and double check this number. Room EQ Wizard is capable of doing this measurement, but it requires a different external circuit and a whole setup. So I'll just trust the manufacturer on this one.
Sure.
So how can we turn 2.8 kilo ohms into 600 ohms? That's what we are trying to do, right? We want the microphone to see an impedance of 600, but the impedance is actually 2.8. Well, what we are going to do is we are going to introduce a resistor in parallel with the audio interface. The resistor will be right here between legs 2 and 3 of the XLR cable. And now the electricity has another path to go through, right? There is a resistor here, but it's another path to go through. So the overall resistance or impedance, the overall impedance of the whole circuit will be lower. It will be lower than 2.8 kilo ohms. By how much? Well, it depends on the value of this resistor. So if the resistor is very high, if the resistance is very high, then the water will want to flow through the audio interface. So the overall resistance will be closer, the overall impedance will be closer to 2.8 kilo ohms. And on the other hand, if the resistor that we put here is of low resistance, then water will want to flow through here, avoiding the audio interface. And then the overall resistance of the circuit will be less. I think I flipped one of these two explanations. But the point is, by putting a resistor here in parallel with the audio interface, we are lowering this impedance. Okay, and what is the formula? Well, we want the overall resistance to be, God damn it, the overall impedance, we want it to be 600 ohms. So the formula goes like this: 1 over 600 ohms is equal to
X over 2.
The sum of the inverses of this impedance, so 2800, and the impedance offered by this resistor, which is the one that we are interested in. So just solve this for R. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to solve this for R. I'm going to go to Wolfram Alpha.
I was going to do it manually, but okay.
Yeah, here we are. Wolfram.
Wolfram is the place to be for this type of thing.
So 1 over 600 is equal to 1 over 2800 plus 1 over R. And I want the approximate form. So about 760 ohms. Does that match the value you had?
So that's the interesting thing where, well, you talked about like the interface impedance, and that would be different across different interfaces. So definitely like the number that I had was for another interface, but they seem to have presented it as like that's what you get, and what they had said was 640.
Oh, it's close enough.
Yeah, now that you explained it, I'm like, well, it should really be explained that you should check your interface, impedance.
Yeah, I think it will be in the ballpark for most modern interfaces.
Yeah.
I think that they will all be around 2.8
Yeah.
kilo ohms of impedance, of input impedance. Right, so let's get into my box of resistors to see what is the closest value we can get to this, because we don't have resistors of just any value. We have just a set of values. So in my case, I think the closest I have, I can either use 470 or 1K.
Ooh,
Those are the two I have. Or I guess I can combine. I can combine 470 with 220. And that will give me,
and then you get 690.
Which is close enough, right?
Yeah, even throw in 100 and you get 790. But whatever, yeah, 690. Let's do 690.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody happy.
Let's get in there.
Whoa, look at that. Huh?
It's like 6 euros, and I actually regret buying
Very
this one.
cool.
On Amazon, you can find one that is around the same price, and instead of coming with 16 types, it comes with like 25. So perhaps it would have something even closer to 760.
But fuck Amazon, so you supported a small business in your city.
I did that. Yeah, I actually bought this locally.
Yeah.
So, man, this is the part of the stream where I
Fortis
really
said
struggle.
Wolfram is. Fortis says Wolfram is like Google, except it's smart and it loves you and doesn't spy on your grandkids. Yeah, true.
Let's try to get as close. It is overkill, okay? When you're working with these kinds of things, if you get a resistor that is close enough, it's good enough. But I will try to get as close as I can and actually use the 3 resistors that should add up to something close to 760. Let's put this to test.
Cool. Sounds good.
And there is also the tolerance of the resistors. In this case, I'm using 5% tolerance resistors. So when it says that the resistor is 100 ohms, it can actually be 95 or 105. But anyway, so we will need to put these 3 resistors in series here, okay? While we are putting the resistor in parallel with the audio interface, we want the 3 values of resistance that we have to be in series with one another, because we want them to add up. So I may need to solder this to get it right, but I would try to just wrap the legs together and see if that's good enough.
Wojtek, you were asking a while ago, I don't know if you're still here, if 7 is going to be like a crazy update. I feel like I was thinking about this the other day, where like when you went from 599 to Reaper 6, it wasn't like, whoa, the changes. Like some icons changed and stuff, but it wasn't like, oh my God. But when you compare like 599 to 60 or whatever we are right now, like the differences are huge. Like all this like metering that's been added, all the like LUFS readings and stuff, I think like really puts Reaper like over the top for many things. And then like the new RIA, like all the things they've added from 6.0 to 6.6 is insane. So I think it's the same like with 7. Like maybe 699 to 7 is not going to be a massive difference, but then 699 to like 7.4, it'll be crazy different. That's what I think. What do y'all think? What do you want to see in Reaper 7 that you don't see right now?
Okay,
Let
here
us
is my
know.
crazy little 760 ohms resistor. But is it? Let's see. I put, as you can see, all 3 of them in series.
Serialize.
And then,
Does the direction matter?
no. 770, not bad,
There
huh?
you go. Beautiful. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, direction doesn't matter for resistors, and it matters for other components, as you might imagine. But for resistors,
Cool.
it doesn't
And
matter.
it doesn't matter. Like you just twisted them. You didn't solder or anything, right?
I just twisted them, yes.
Cool. And it has an S shape, so that's cool.
Yeah, I came up with this. We can probably cut the excess, but we'll see how we are actually going to mount this. And we could open the microphone and mount this in the XLR connector in the microphone. But to get the XLR out of here, it can be kind of annoying. So what I'm going to do instead is open the XLR cable and do it here. And people do
Mount it
this
there.
differently. Some
Nice.
people do it right here on the cable, which is what I'm going to do. Some people do it on boxes so that you can have a switch and turn things on and off. And some people just open the
Cool.
microphone and mod it permanently. So you can do that
Right.
too.
I feel like modding the cable is a no-brainer in this case, right? You don't touch the mic.
Yeah. And then you have a cable that has this mod, which is something that you may try with different microphones, because they will probably change the frequency response of different microphones and give you different colors. So let's open both connectors and see which one is easier to do this stuff with. I think that this should be easy to do on this side. Yeah, looks reasonable, right? So we want to do this between legs 2 and 3 of this thing. So that will be the 2 legs right here. You don't want to touch this one with the bare wire, that's ground. And you don't want to short circuit your hot or cold to ground in this mod.
So while you're doing that, I got a question for you.
Ask away.
So since we are modding the cable, I wonder, like it will possibly have an audible effect on all mics that you connect to this cable, no?
That's what I'm saying. You can use this cable to do different colors on different microphones if you want.
Very nice. But I guess it will be like it'll be a dynamic mic because like this will affect how phantom power is sent to a device or no?
It will. Let me think about this. I don't think it will affect phantom power. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think that phantom power is DC over both the hot and the cold in relation to ground. So it sends 48 volts in both the hot and the cold as the DC offset in relation to ground. So the resistor here will make no difference because you're talking about a resistor between 2 points of the circuit that has the same potential. But don't quote me on this. It's just intuition.
Okay.
I think that if I can, of course, get rid of these long legs, make them shorter, and if I wrap the cable or the little legs around the pins, I don't think I need to solder anything, which is a plus because I'm trying to do this. So I have a soldering iron here, but if we can do this solderless, it's much friendlier for people who want to try this at home. So let's see if we can make it. And if it doesn't work well, then I'll just get one resistor because it's going to be easier to fit into the jack anyway.
Right. So yeah, so when you're connecting like the three, is it kind of there's a universal color coding for which one is ground and which one is cold and which one is hot?
No, there is no universal color coding. Usually hot is red and cold is something like white. In this case, it seems to be red and transparent. And but I know that I have the right pins because usually ground is the shield, and you can see that it is the shield here. There is no protection on this wire. It's just the shield and that is soldered here. And also, if you look at the front of the connector, you know that one, and there is a little one here. You may not be able to see this on the camera, but there is a little one here. And 1 is ground, 2 is hot, and 3 is cold. And that's a convention that every XLR cable that I know of follows.
I may be misremembering this. I remember reading somewhere that XLR is ground hot. But I don't know.
Really?
It's 2 hots and one of them is phase invert, or one of them is polarity inverted.
I thought that the definition of hot and cold was exactly that cold would be polarity inverted.
Cold is like...
such that
I may
hot
be
polarity inverted
too.
would be nonsensical, right? But what do I know?
I feel like a lot of these things, like, you know, you learn in school, but you don't end up using it, or at least I never ended up using it. So I have them all. Like when you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, they sound familiar. But if you ask me to explain it, like that knowledge has left my head. Because I didn't use it, and it's kind of sad, but like whatever.
Well, it made space for other knowledge that you do use, so that's
true.
Okay, I got one of the legs wrapped around the pin, just like this. I think it's gonna work. Seems good enough of a connection. Let's get the other one in there. And I don't think there is any chance that this is gonna fit in this barrel. But we can try.
If we really so when you're connecting them, like, you don't need to sever a connection, put that in the way, and then connect it, and it's not like a pedal, right?
Huh? What do you mean?
You're just like you're not severing the connection, connecting the two, the hot to the resistor, and then the resistor goes to kind of where the hot usually went. You're just
I am
intercepting it.
I am jumping between pins 2 and 3, but I am not cutting the pins.
Cool.
Because I want these resistors to be in parallel with the circuit, not in series with the circuit.
Could you shorten that metal thing so that it's like shorter and can like maybe go inside and kind of fit snugly in there, or you can't?
Let's do that. I will probably have to bust the soldering iron here for this one, but I wanted to try without. Okay, we have a relatively short leg here. This should be enough. How am I going to get it though? This is the part I usually ask for help. My wife has much more capable hands than I do. And even if I do this, are these resistors going to fit into this giant piece of plastic? I don't think so. If I really squeeze, I think they will fit, so okay.
I guess, would there be a way to serialize them that they kind of stand next to each other? That could be something, but...
Yeah, I guess we could have done that. Oh, my camera is glitchy.
It just glitched once. Overall looks good.
Yeah, okay, I think that this will work. Let's get in there. Oh, now I regret having cut this connector because it is a bit too short.
Mage says, does anyone remember this? 1 over 2 pi root LC is the resonant frequency. What's LC? I'm ignorant.
So this is a different kind of circuit that the person is talking about. L is the inductance of an inductor, and we don't have any inductors going on in our circuit here. So yeah, the resonant frequency of an LC filter, is that it? Is it L and C that he was talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the resonant frequency of... Yeah, I guess that's right. The cutoff frequency, the resonant frequency of an LC filter is given by its inductance of the inductor and the capacitance of the capacitor. And the formula is 1 over 2 pi times L, the inductance, times C, the capacitance. So you put an inductor, a capacitor, and you tap in the middle of them. So between the inductor and the capacitor, that's where you put your wire going out. That is an LC filter, and that's how you calculate the cutoff frequency of that filter. I think that this is good. We may need to solder this, but hopefully not. Now let's try to get this fellow in this plastic thingy. Arya, tell us about your new place, I guess, your new city.
Oh, it's Vancouver, BC, Canada. It's not a new city to me. That was the first city I arrived in Canada. So I was here from 2018 to 2020, then went to Montreal. Now I'm back here. So I guess I've spent an equal amount of time in Montreal and Vancouver, but now I'm going to be in Vancouver for longer. It's a smaller city than Montreal. I'm a city boy, so I really like the city aspect of Montreal. But BC is very beautiful. Weather is good. It doesn't get as cold as anywhere else in Canada. It's like one of the warmest places. And like Vancouver, BC is definitely the warmest province, but Vancouver is not the warmest spot here. And yeah, it's nice. Lots of nature, lots of parks. Everybody here is like got a weird mode of transportation.
I got a new electric scooter. I love it.
Nice.
I'll tell you all about it. But hang on, I have to get some electric tape because I don't know if you noticed, but I couldn't get the resistors in there. So I just broke that plastic and I'm going to put some electric tape instead. I'll see you back.
Cool. And then you check some of the comments here. I'd like some kind of mesh containers. Designing sound for games. So I have some containers locations on timeline where I have source files. That would be huge. Sub projects are great, but like a mess. Yeah, like I had an attempt of that, like a sandbox type of project. But I know what you mean, yeah. I think, honestly, sub-projects are the way, but maybe you don't want to go, like, grab stuff from a sub-project and bring it into a main project kind of thing. To me, sub-projects are, like, mix, like eight sound effects into one item. Like, they're quick. Honestly, they're not super integrated in my workflow. I get by without them. But I know what you mean. Hello, Bo. How's it going? It's been a long time that we've spoken. Yeah, what are you up to these days? How you feeling?
As usual, it's always easier to break things apart than to put them back together.
Well, yeah, that's how it be.
Oh, come on. I'm almost there.
I can see it's a little twisted to one side, you know what I mean? Like it's leaning to one side.
Hey, there you go.
Did
Now,
you do it? Nice.
oh, no, the cable is broken. I didn't do it. I had to push it further in. Second try. Go back in there. Oh, yeah, there it is. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now let's see.
I got a dumb question for you, Leandro.
I will probably have a dumb answer.
Cool. The cable itself, like normally it wouldn't have a resistance of 0, right? It has some resistance, but it's very low. And we just increase it by like a lot. Is that how it is?
Well, the 3 cables, right? Because this is one XLR cable made of 3 little cables inside. Each one of the 3 cables inside had a small resistance to them. We can measure. Let's see. This is pin 1 on this side. This is measuring resistance. And this is pin 1 on this side here. So the resistance of the cable by itself is 0.1 ohms or 0 ohms. The resistance is 0 ohms.
Yeah.
But the resistance between the 3 little cables inside was infinite. There was no connection between them. And that's how we can double check that my work actually worked well and I didn't short anything in the cable. Because the resistance between the 3 cables used to be infinite. The cables were disconnected. But now, ground, which is cable number 1, should be... I guess I don't need to do a resistance test. I could do continuity in this case. If I made everything correctly, then this first pin should be in the circuit. And it is. But the other 2 should not be. And they are not. Similarly, this should be cable number 3 is in the circuit, but the other 2 are not. And now let's do cable 2. Oops. That is cable 2. That's correct. I was thrown off by the asymmetry here. But yeah, things are correct. And now, in addition to what we just measured, the resistance between, I have here 1 and 1. So that should be 0. No resistance, because it's a cable. The resistance between 1 and both 2 and 3 should still be 0, because they are not connected.
Ooh, little bits.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, but it's mega ohm, right? The M means...
Correct.
So it's very negligible?
It's 500K, which is more than I was expecting, but I don't know what that's about. But the whole point of the exercise is that now between 2 and 3, I'll put this probe in 2, and between 2 and 3, we should see 760. And we do.
770, nice.
So it seems like the cable is correct. And there is this weird situation here where between pins 2 and 3 and ground, we are also measuring stuff, and that doesn't seem right. We are measuring what? 58 mega ohms. That's a very high resistance, isn't it?
That's mega. Could it be milli? No, it's gotta be...
No, it's mega. This is mega. Yeah, so...
Big M, right.
It seems like the cable is correct. It seems like the resistance between little cables 2 and 3 is 760 ohms, and the resistance between little cable 1, which is ground, and the other 2 is very, very high. So they are disconnected. I should tell people that I'm not a professional in this, okay? I'm just getting started into electronics. I am speaking out of very little experience, so if you are more knowledgeable, please correct me.
Let us know.
Please correct me before I blow things up live. But I
wish we had a John Tidy in the house.
Yeah. Right, so that's it. That's the resistor mod. Let's plug it in.
Very cool that it's a cable. I mean, I want to now try it with like a bunch of different mics.
I can try with the ones I have. But then you
How
have
many of the ones you have are dynamic?
Dynamic mics. I only have the SM58 and now my Rode Procaster. And then I have a condenser, and I think it should work on the condenser because I think that phantom power will go between both wires like I explained before, but what do I know? Okay.
Oh, that's good that you are making some progress with your post-COVID, Bo. That's great to hear. I got another round of COVID like last month, but it was, a couple of days plus a couple of days of being tired. Nothing as crazy as yours.
Okay. I connected it to the audio interface. I will increase the gain of this microphone now, and I hope that smoke will not come out of my audio interface.
Somebody said it goes down. Wait, I have it somewhere. Let me see. Somebody had measured how much it goes down, but it's the same person who said like 640. So maybe
it goes down. What do you mean goes down?
The amount of gain you need to boost to get the same loudness from the same source.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm not considering is this loudness change actually in my measurements, right? I didn't have a consistent measurement of loudness to begin with. So I guess we can only talk about the frequency response, but intuitively we will see the difference in loudness on the graph, I guess, because it will be at a different level. But
maybe keep it at the same place to start, and then we can compensate and do another test.
Well, another thing that we can do, and it's something that I guess we can do right after the measurement, is I have an SM58. I'm not streaming with my Rode Procaster this time. I'm streaming with an SM58 that has not been modded. So we can compare the sound and we can compare the loudness and everything. All right, let's get to measurements. All right. Okay.
Are y'all excited? Are you pumped? Are you getting pumped?
I will
People
not hear
yes.
you, Arya, so I will go into measurement.
That's all right. I'll respond to comments. Yeah, NVK tools are awesome. Nick actually was very kind and he sent me some of his scripts for free. I really appreciate it, Nick, and I want to do a video on them. But I want to get some time with them, and currently, honestly, it's been like a month since I opened Reaper because I'm at work a lot. So I want to get some time with it and then make a video on it. But yeah, go check out NVK Tools. Let me toss the link in there. I think they are very like game audio focused, but also like sound design focused. I know that like when I used to do game stuff in Pro Tools, I just had the messiest, craziest projects and I had millions of them. And with Reaper, I feel like you can contain most things in like one project, which is already such a container of mess as it was, because you just waiting between loading time of projects is how I slowly age and die. So that's already a big improvement. Okay, it seems like we got a measurement.
We got a measurement, and it does not do what I expected it to do, because it looks mostly flat. Remember that what we are looking at here is not the frequency response of the microphone. It is how the frequency response of the microphone changed with our mod, right? I am using the baseline as my sound card calibration, which means that what we see here, this curve that we see, is already the difference between previous measurement and new measurement. And it's not changing much.
Can we look at, just for giggles, at the like absolute measurement of this last measurement that you did?
I suppose probably what I can do is edit this measurement, hide node, save measurement as sound card, change calibration, clear calibration. There you
Okay,
go.
this is what we got.
Yeah.
So one thing that everybody says is that this is supposed to improve the high end response. And I'm not seeing at least like a oh my god amount of difference.
Yeah.
Well, oh, actually, so it is a bit lower, right? In terms of absolute values. So maybe we can do a boost and do another test and see. It just feels like it kind of expanded the range, if it makes sense. So that like there's a W just after 1K, like a shape of W, and in the second one, the W just seems to be like a little bit more pronounced, if you know what I mean when I say W.
Yeah. Let's do this calibration again, because then what you are talking about becomes spikes up and down. So this is the difference that you are talking about right here.
It's not much.
Yeah. Do you want to do another measurement like this?
Sure.
All right. I will. Has not been saved. I am sure I saved it. Yes. No, I saved it. I saved it. You saw me saving it. Anyway, I will get into measurement mode. See you in a bit.
Okay. Have you ever used Vordio? No, actually. I've never had to so far. And honestly, like, I feel like most of the time when I did dialogue for a bunch of films, not recently actually, like in March, they just paid for my Pro Tools. And I'm honestly semi-happy to every once in a while like flex my Pro Tools muscles, make sure the knowledge is there just in case it's needed. So I've never had to like convert a project from one format to another. But what's interesting is when I started, everybody was like, oh, AA translator is broken, use Vordio. And now it seems like a lot of people say, oh, Vordio is broken, use AA translator. So it seems like one of them's doing something, or some of them do some stuff better than others. But no, yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with either one. I did use up my free AA translator project transform out of curiosity, and I was very, very happy with the results. It did a really good translation.
Hello again. I am back from doing the measurements, and I was taking the opportunity that you were answering someone's question to start doing something here that I think will be nice to do, which is to compare the modded microphone with the unmodded microphone. And I just need to make sure that the inputs are right, and I think that they are. Yeah. Okay, so you will not be hearing this right away. I am just recording this and we can compare later, but I have both microphones at about the same position, about the same distance from my mouth. They are exactly with the same gain on the audio interface, and you can see that the meters are bouncing up and down at around the same region. But still, I will normalize
the mod
this.
Seems quieter.
Yes, by a little bit, but I think that it is in the ballpark, and I will normalize this to minus 23 LUFS before we actually take a listen.
Cool.
But
can you do this? Because they say frequency response changes. So I want to see like some really upfront transient. Or sorry, I said frequency response. I meant like the transient response.
Right, yeah. I remember you saying that. But let's discuss this graph. It looks very much like the other measurement. So I guess this is a fair measurement. I think it worked.
Yeah, but the difference is like very unimpressive.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. In fact, how about we start listening to those files I'm creating here?
Sure.
Okay. What I need to do to make this happen is I want to add as an output my computer, which is here, output 1 to computer. That's it. So now we all hear this. In fact, you are hearing many of them for a moment. And then let's normalize this to minus 23 left, because we're scientists here. Normalize items to minus 23.
Science.
And then we'll listen to one of them and then the other. Okay, I am just recording this and we can compare later, but I have both microphones at about the same position, about the same distance from my mouth. They are exactly with the same gain on the audio interface, and you can see that the meters are bouncing up and down at around the same region. But still, I will normalize this. Yes, by a little bit, but I think that it is in the ballpark.
Does sound
and I will
very
normalize.
different.
It sounds so different. It is so weird because the measurement wouldn't reveal that, but it sounds. I think I can pick them on the blind test.
Right. My question is, the distance is one thing that could be. So how can we like, like if you say put a sound on your phone or something like that and record it just so we know we're at the same distance, that would kind of give me a little peace of mind. But wow, the sound is wildly different. And in fact, I feel like I like the unmodded sound more, if I just had to say.
I think
Let
I
us
like
know
it
in
better
the
too.
comments. Yeah, and let us know. It doesn't seem like the mod version is brighter to me. It feels like the unmodded version is brighter. Or at least, I don't know, maybe let's hear one more time.
This and we can compare later, but I have both microphones at about the same position, about the same distance from my mouth. They are exactly with the same gain on the audio interface, and you can see that the meters are bouncing up and down at around the same region. But still, I will normalize this.
I actually don't hear much of a difference in the high end. I hear a very noticeable difference in the low and mid, like low mids. Let us know what you think, people who are listening to this.
Yeah, I want to do this.
Oh, why don't you just float both of them big?
Fair enough.
That's the mod. And that's the unmod. Right, I mean, so on the modded one, do you see the low end, like under 100 hertz is like very noticeably different?
Yeah, I noticed definitely more of a difference in the low end than on the high. I don't know. I think that the low end on the modded version seems nicer to me. It seems less boomy.
Right, yeah. There's less of it. But overall, the unmodded sound is much more nice to me.
I think I agree. Let's give it a listen on the transients, or do you want to see the transients? I don't know what you want to do with the transients.
I don't mind seeing them, but I want to hear them too, yeah.
Okay. Oops,
You
I'm
have
soloing
both of them now, yeah.
There, and we are hearing that, yes.
I don't hear much of a difference, so now I want to use my eyes.
Hang on.
That cat is doing a cameo. Cat! Iso, hi! Hi, oh,
I don't hear a lot of difference, nope.
Cat break. Oh, she doesn't like being helped.
Later, but I have both microphones. I want to give this one more listen. Recording this and we can compare later, but I have both microphones at about the same position, about the same distance from my mouth. They are exactly with the same gain on the audio interface, and you can see that meters are bouncing up and down at around the same region. But still, I will normalize. I don't know. I guess I will change camps. My vote is that the modded version sounds less fatiguing because of the I guess the low end had this kind of this
pitch.
that gets tiresome after some time. So if I was doing, of course, we are testing one application, voiceover. We are testing one thing. So if you are doing this on a snare, it's going to be completely different. But I think that for this application, I may listen to the modded version for longer without getting tired.
And in terms of transient response, just looking at the waveforms, like the mod one is like more ups and downy, and the unmodded one is more like like not as big a dynamic range to me, it feels.
You're saying this because it is going louder here, but that's because of the normalization. I didn't normalize this section. I normalized the whole item.
Right, yeah. No, but also looking at like the whole waveform, like if you just zoom out, it feels like the dynamic range is wider on the modded one. Things jump out more and stuff. But you are right. Like the modded version, the low end is definitely more seems to be in control. But definitely, since everybody on forums say that it makes things brighter, I hear no difference in terms of brightness. Or if there is a difference and it's negligible, then whatever, right? It's not worth doing all the stuff we did.
Yeah. I don't know. The
I
difference
wanted to see something crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to see a difference, and I don't. That is disturbing to me because I hear a difference and I don't see it. So, weird stuff. Maybe having to do with my measurement setup. But anyway, is it worth it, Arya? Would you do this mod?
I mean, again, honestly, since it's a cable mod, I wouldn't mind having a cable and then like testing it on stuff. Like what's the harm? Well, I guess the harm is that I don't solder, but you didn't solder. So yeah, like it's nice, it's interesting, but I didn't see a world of difference. Now I know that on the transformerless mod there is a huge difference, and that makes sense, right? But yeah, this wasn't like, oh my god. What? Fotis says the transients sound a bit louder in the modded one. I agree. Like the transients seem more pronounced, or could it be a China copy one of the mic? Hard to tell the difference. The sound is suspiciously different. Oh, so Wojtek is saying, I guess we can test, Wojtek, what you are saying by just flipping the cables on the two mics and recording it another time. You want to try that, Leandro?
Yes. In fact, we don't need to... I guess we can swap the cables if you want, but what I can do is I can get another cable and put a clean cable, no mods, on the same microphone. But I bought both of these from trusted sources, so they are legit. Yeah. And I watched videos online on how to tell them apart, so I am pretty confident that they are SM58.
Cool.
But I will get you a cable and I'll test this. Hang on.
Sure, yeah, just for fun. Bo, you missed the beginning of the stream. So there are like 3, I would say, common mods that I see people do to SM57s or 8s. One is to remove the transformer that's in the mic, and that's supposed to increase the low end response, and it's supposed to make the transients more pronounced. One is adding a resistor in the way of the mic, and that's supposed to increase the brightness. That's what we did, and we didn't really see a difference in brightness. We actually did see a difference in low end. and the other one is just to replace the transformer with like a telefunken transformer, and that's supposed to just change the sound entirely. I've never seen any. I've seen the transformerless mod and used it and liked it, but didn't do like a big comparison. And the other two, this one or changing the transformer, I've never seen anybody. I've never people have done it, but I've never had experience with them. So this one is the easiest mod, so that's why we started with this. But yeah, we'll see if the harder mods. I see Leandro's doing a thing. Oh, he's just testing, I think, which is which.
Yes, so I am back, and these are now the two same microphones from before, but the modded version is not using the modded cable, so it's not really modded anymore. And I did this very test before the stream, and I couldn't pick the microphones apart because I wanted to know if this other SM58 that I had was a good baseline for justifying the whole stream, actually. And I tested, and it seems to be okay. So I don't think you will be able to hear any difference. Let's see.
Maybe just distance, but that's again negligible. We're looking for huge differences, so.
All right. I am still recording. Now I'm no longer recording, and then I can give you the output from this. And I'm soloing both. Okay. Now we are good. And do you still see my screen? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So I am back, and oh, I forgot to normalize. I will normalize.
Normalize it, legalize it.
These are now the two same microphones from before, but the modded version is not using the modded cable, so it's not really modded anymore. And I did this very test before the stream, and I couldn't pick the microphones apart because I wanted to know if this other SM58 that I had was a good baseline for justifying the whole stream, actually. And I tested. It seems to be okay, so I don't think you will be able to
I hear quite a difference. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about because I did the exact same test before and I didn't hear a difference, but now I do. So
yeah,
I don't know, crazy
Is
stuff.
it just the distance? Like how are you kind of seeing that the distance from you to each mic is same-ish?
Because I'm putting them side by side, and I am about the same distance.
Oh yeah.
I'm just holding one of them with my hand.
Weird, eh?
Very weird. Stuff that you can only discover when you actually test stuff live.
So I guess one more test to do just for giggles is to then do the swap. So the cable, like the mod cable, goes to the other mic.
Fair enough.
Just for giggles, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So now I am going to... The main microphone I'm using for the stream will go through the modded cable. I need to do something to tell them apart because I'm going to start mixing them, aren't I? Okay, so the modded cable has electric tape on it.
Mage says, imagine if Dan Worrell does a reaction video. Yeah, I would love that. Sometimes, honestly, I want to make like mixing tutorials, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want Dan Worrell to tear me a new asshole. But then I think, if he does, I'll learn something and everybody else learns something. Because like when he did that video on like non-linearities, it was based on like a tutorial that somebody did. So maybe I'll just throw myself under the bus. Like maybe if you want to learn something from Dan Worrell, you need to make a tutorial where you talk a lot of garbage and then Dan Worrell will show up. But obviously it'll be great. Gravity anomaly. That's the difference. The cat is good, Bo. Thanks for asking. She's sitting on my lap. She doesn't like to be like lifted. So I'm always like, how do I have Izzy more on camera? I should just have an easy camera that's on her. Isn't that right?
Okay, so now I am running...
switched out the cables?
Yes, I am running now with the modded cable on the same microphone that I was speaking through this whole time.
Okay.
How does it sound?
I mean, on in isolation, I don't hear like a crazy amount. It just, like your ears get used to it.
Okay, so I guess what I need to do is mute this, go into recording on this, and start recording, because now we can compare this same microphone, because this track is recording this microphone at all times, and we can hear a bit of a difference between this recording and the previous recordings, and see if we can tell if the cable made any difference.
Okay.
So I will need to unmute this, solo that, no, just that, solo that, normalize this, and then give it a listen. So I am back, and these are now the two same microphones from before, but the modded version microphone, because this track is recording this microphone at all times, and we can hear a bit of a difference tested, and it seems to be okay. So I don't think you will be able to hear any difference. Hear a bit of a difference between this recording and the previous recordings, and see if we can tell if the cable made any difference.
I don't hear much of a difference, to be honest.
Neither do I.
So what the hell, internet?
Seems like this mod, I think that the myth is busted. This mod does not make a lot of difference measurably and sonically.
Yeah, like there is a difference, but like, so what? There's a difference between everything.
Yeah, it's not any better.
Like, how is it usable? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I agree. Like, I think I am in your school that for voiceover, like the low end response was kind of nicer, but like, again, like it feels like you can just EQ and get a very close approximation. So here's my question also I want to know. So you know how you measured the resistance on the modded cable? What if you take a cable that you didn't mod and measure the resistance, just so that we can prove that there is a huge difference in the resistance?
Oh,
you know
okay.
I mean?
Okay, so you want me to get out my good cable without any modification and do the same multimeter tests that we did together, okay?
Yeah. Not that I don't believe you here.
No, it's so nice that I'm actually doing this with you all here, because I wouldn't think of some of these tests, and it is great fun. Okay. Hang on, let's switch back to this camera. Here we are. This is the cable.
Says this.
Says what?
Oh, sorry, go on. He says this is a Dan Worrell level of myth busting, except he composes music for every tutorial. So that's still a high level of shit, but yeah.
Yeah, so
no,
okay.
I'm having a lot of fun.
No electric tape. So this is a pristine cable. I want to double check because I am shuffling things around. Okay, I can see the connector here with the stuff that I broke on the modded cable. And over here,
maybe you can put a sticker on the one that you modded.
I did.
So that you can
I put some. I put some electric tape on the one that I modded. I just wanted to double check they had the right one. But you see, this has the plastic thingy in there as well. Okay, so this is some good old cable from Amazon Basics. So let's test continuity. I will hold it like this and drop this on pin 1. Then on pin 1, I should have continuity, but on the other two, I don't. Pin 2. Pin 3. Looking good. Resistance. So the resistance between pin 1 and pin itself should be 0. And the resistance between pin 1 and the other two should be a very large number. Now it's saying over limit. It's not saying a very large 50 mega ohms something.
Oh, it's set for a second like 162. Yeah, 153.
Okay, never mind that. I guess there is also, maybe I was touching the cables the wrong way because I have some resistance in my body. In my body, and it is around, I don't know, 50K. So if I was touching the cables the wrong way, I could be affecting the result. But yeah, I can pick any pin, like pin 1, and measure the resistance between it and some other pin, and I don't get any signal. Because it's not only that there isn't continuity, but the resistance is very, very high. And over here it's 0, because it's the same pin. Yeah, so as expected, it seems fair.
Yeah. So your mod is correct, but this mod overall isn't doing a whole ton.
Yeah. So do you want to pry this open and kill it?
Hey, I mean, it's your stuff, but yeah, I would love to see it.
Yeah. So let's do an anatomy of an SM58. It's a very simple microphone. Over here is the capsule. And here is how the capsule connects to... These two wires are coming out of the capsule and are going into this goop. There is this...
Yeah.
It's like plastic goop, hot glue stuff. So inside this is a transformer. And then on the other side of it, it's an XLR cable. So it's as simple as that. The circuit is a capsule, a transformer, XLR going out. As simple as that.
I should say, now that you opened it, I remembered one other mod that I've heard of, and that is just to remove the resonance disc.
What is the
that's
resonance
in front
disc?
of the capsule. So there's a disc in front of the capsule. If you remove the like foamy kind of thing that's in front.
Oh, this thing?
No, not that one. Yeah. Or if it's really well glued on, maybe don't do it. Don't do it. Let's just do the transformerless first.
It doesn't seem like this wants to come out. But what do you do? Do you remove this foam and what happens?
And there's a disc that you remove, and that is supposed to change the sound as well.
Interesting. I didn't know about that one. Yeah, the mod that we are going to do is simply to remove this transformer from the circuit. And in theory, what that's supposed to do is, well, a couple of things. First, it will change the character, the frequency response of the microphone, supposedly. It is supposed to make it sound more like an SM7B that costs 4 times.
That's what they say. Yeah.
I don't believe it, but that's what we are about to find out. So that's the first thing it's supposed to do. The second thing it's supposed to do is make the microphone no longer safe for phantom power. So if you take the SM58 and turn on 48 volts of phantom power, it will just ignore that phantom power because it's going through the transformer here. But as I said, it's going to both pins of the transformer. So it doesn't do anything. But if you put 48 volts through the capsule, it blows up. That part, we are not going to test, okay? I don't want to blow up my microphone.
No need.
Because the main point of doing all these mods in the way that we are doing, trying to avoid the soldering iron and whatnot, is to prove that it is relatively straightforward. You don't need a lot of gear, and you don't need to destroy your stuff to experiment. So,
I got a question for you. So you know how there's like, it's like the transformer is inside this pool of glue? Is it necessary to be that way, or is it kind of a weird design? Like, couldn't there be a casing that holds the transformer in place rather than it just being like a pool of glue? You know what I mean? Like,
probably.
Like, why is it designed like that?
I don't know, but I would guess that probably, yes, it could be hanging, or maybe the glue is to make the mic heavier. Because one thing is, you cannot simply turn this into an SM7B just by the transformer mod, because the shape of the microphone will also affect its response. So it will pick up more low end because the SM7B is bigger and that sort of thing. So perhaps the glue is here to make the whole thing heavier and have the right resonance frequencies in the body and whatnot. So I don't know. But
I'm gonna download the REW while you're doing all of this, and maybe I'll measure the though like our results will be different, but like I want to measure the SM7B too.
yeah. Well, if you want to measure the frequency response of a microphone, what you have to do is have a measurement microphone and then do the calibration with a measurement microphone, which is a kind of microphone that comes with, it has been tested by the manufacturer in an anechoic chamber. I never get this name right.
Yeah.
Anyway, they tested this there and they can tell the frequency response of the measurement microphone. So you load that as a calibration file in Room EQ is Wizard, and it will compensate for that. Anyway, so the third, I said there were three things. The frequency response will change. It will be more as SM7B like. It will no longer be resilient to phantom power, so I will not be able to turn on phantom power. And the third change is there will be a drop in gain of about 12 dB. That's what we expect from what we read online. And what some people do online, actually what everyone does online, if you go look up this mod, is they cut the wires and they put this part in boiling water. Or they use some other form of heating to get rid of the glue. And there is this one person who got rid of the glue and then put a switch on the microphone so that it could put the transformer in and out of circuit. Super cool stuff.
Smart.
But what we are going to do is much simpler than that. We are just going to cut the wires and we are going to discard this part. And we are just going to use the capsule of the microphone. And we are introducing two variables. One is the transformer and the other is the shape and the weight of the microphone. But this is non-destructive because if I want, I can just resolder these two wires together and I have a perfectly fine, unmodded SM58 back. And if I love the transformerless mod, then perhaps I can melt this casing and get the glue out or the plastic out.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so let's cut the wires and I will cut them in the middle so that reassembling stuff in the future will be simpler. There, it's done.
Nice. Quick and easy. More humane to the animal.
So there are two ways to go about this. I could probably have unsoldered the cables from here, but I guess I will just continue using this little red, green and yellow cables here. Let's strip these cables. And oh man, I really wish I could do this more easily, but I am no good at this stuff. But if I can do it, anyone can do it. I have bare hands, as in the animal. You know what? Let's have a knife here.
Bo says it's probably wax and not glue. Yeah, somebody said exactly what it is on one of the forums, but I don't remember. But you're right, it's not glue. I just say glue because I'm ignorant.
Yeah.
Watch out, don't cut towards yourself. Don't try this at home, kids.
It's coming out.
Nice.
It's coming out. It will come out. I can do better.
I just don't want you to cut towards yourself.
What are you saying? There is no other way of doing it.
Yeah, there you go.
Come the fuck on. Can I swear in your channel?
Yeah. We don't care. Oh, hello, Mastering in the Box. How's it going? Mastering in the Box, go check out the channel. If you want to master in the box, everybody, check out this channel. Frida microphone, yeah. No, yes, microphones were harmed in the making of this live stream. True, yeah. Like a cable stripper is, and some people actually do it with the wire cutter. They just know like how deep to go to cut the shielding, but not the wires itself. But I don't know, Leandro, if you know that trick. I don't know that trick.
Well, I got the wires there. Okay, they're there.
Nice.
Stop complaining
There you
about
go.
my technique. They are there. And I do have a wire stripper, and it just cuts the cable every time. I hate it. Worst 10 euros I ever spent. Okay, next part. So we need to connect this to some XLR cable, right? And I don't have another XLR cable I want to destroy, but I do have this cable that I don't care about. So, and I have an XLR connector. Is this the right kind of connector that I need? Hang on. Yeah, it is. It is. So this is the kind that goes
Sorry,
into
why do you need a cable?
because I need to connect this to the audio interface.
Oh, I see. You know what I thought you're going to do? I thought you're gonna unscrew the XLR port from the back of the mic and then cut those wires and just connect those two wires together again. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Oh, that's actually a smart
There you go.
idea. I could do that. Or here's something else I could do. I was gonna just put a wire in this and connect.
Yeah.
I was gonna make an XLR cable here on this side. I was gonna take out this connector and do an XLR cable on this side and connect that to my audio interface and connect this directly to the microphone. But I have a smarter idea now. I could, instead of using the male jack, I could connect a female jack right here, and then I would just plug it in with a regular cable, and I can swap between the modded
Right.
and unmodded, and then I can stack the two mods together. So let me get a female jack real quick.
Cool. Justice for Shure microphones. When Leandro cut the wires, I kind of for some reason remembered how people who like kill crabs or lobsters, they just do it so fast. I don't know why I remembered that.
Okay, here is a female jack. Let's see what it looks like inside. Oh, hang on. Do I have to unscrew this to get in? Oh, the fuck, dude. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm back. I want to check again that I have the right kind of connector, because I feel like I'm doing the wrong thing. What is
I'm not
there in the
exactly sure what you're doing. You're connecting. Okay, no, yeah, I understand what you're doing.
Yeah,
so
I'm
instead
replacing
of the
this
cable,
with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I can
Yeah,
connect
yeah,
a
yeah.
regular cable in. And I had the wrong connector here. This is not the one I want to open. I don't want to use this at all.
You want to know an interesting bit of trivia?
Always.
In audio cables, like the audio is always flowing from male to female, right? So there's the end of a microphone is male, and then you connect a female to it, and again the beginning of a mixer is female.
Yeah.
But in lights, it's the other way around. So you have the 5-pin XLRs that they use for light, and at the lights they're always female. And at the console, they're always male. Isn't that
But
weird?
lights are outputs.
Oh,
They're like
that's why.
speakers.
Yeah.
The fuck is this that I bought? How am I supposed to get in there? Does this come out? If I push it, does it come out
I
the
got
other end?
another dumb question for you.
Yeah.
if you just grab that like naked wire and you just wrap it around like the pins of a male, is that good enough? Or is that not good enough?
Well, I guess I know what you're saying, so I could just shove it in there, right?
Yeah.
And as long as they make a connection, then it's good.
But it's not very stable. Like you move it a little and
Yeah. I will give this a shot, but to be honest, I bought this thing and I don't know how to get in there. Oh, there is another screw in here. I'm silly.
Oh yeah, oh my god, congrats on your new baby, Smudge. That's so exciting. But also, yeah, I guess say bye to sleeping and all of that. But congratulations.
Oh, the
I
first
saw,
couple
where did
months,
I see a picture?
The first couple months.
Yeah?
Good luck, brother.
Oof.
I guess there is always a new challenge, but for me, the first couple months were the worst. But hey, good luck, congratulations.
I was babysitting a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-year-old recently with my partner. That was pretty hard because I feel like a child, cries and stuff, but those kids can kill themselves by falling off of stuff, and that's like a new level of scary.
Fair enough. We live on the 9th floor here, so we know what you mean. Because he does know how to climb. Yay! I got that damn thing out.
Nice.
Okay, so we should be able to connect the pins here, and then we should be able to get our other cable and just do it like this. And I could, of course, just mount this whole thing back in, but let's not, in the interest of keeping things simple.
Sure.
If we can manage that.
Pimp my mic. That's what I should have called my stream. Somebody who said that. Fotis. Nice. Fotis, I gotta give you you gotta help me with my titles. When I make new videos, I should ask you what to call them.
So how do we connect this? Is there an order to the madness? I know that there are 3 pins on the XLR cable. First is ground, so the first will actually connect here to the metal part that is exposed. How do I know that? Well, I actually did a continuity test between the pin 1 here and the rest of the microphone, like this part and that part, and it was all connected. I'll not bore you with that test because it's pretty straightforward. You always connect the ground to the chassis of whatever you are working on. But I don't know if there is any order to hot and cold, if I should have green or yellow in S2 and 3. So to find that out, I will try to deassemble this part and see how the wiring is done here, in the hope that they keep the green and yellow. I don't know if they do.
If they should. I hope they do.
Otherwise, I think the only way would be to get the goop out and see inside, or find something online anyway. Let's see if I can pull this out. Yay! Oh, no.
I guess you can still use your red and blue.
Oh, of course.
Well, could you not use your multimeter to find out?
I don't think so, because as far as I know, the transformer is going to
but mix
it's going to
them,
isolate.
Right?
The point of the transformer is to isolate yellow and green from red and blue. There is no continuity between them. That's the entire point. And that's why phantom power is safe with an SM58. Because power is never getting to the capsule. But, yeah, so let's just pretend that hot and cold doesn't matter. I think that the only effect that could have is we would have inverted polarity. Instead of when you speak into the microphone and the capsule goes, it goes like this, you're supposed to get positive signal, and then when it comes back out, you're supposed to get negative. The worst that can happen is we'll have something that is the opposite of that, but I don't care. So let's see how I can put these little wires in there. I think I would have to bust out the soldering iron for this one, because I don't see anything else I could be doing here. There's nothing I could be wrapping around. It would be too jangly. Yeah, I have the soldering iron here. And
Arjun says put the XLR shield on the cable before doing anything. Is it bad if you don't? Because I feel like the voltage that goes through XLR is very low anyway. Like, is that gonna kill you?
No. The shield is because if you're doing an actual cable and you forget, then you are going to solder the chip and how you're going to put the sleeve back in, right?
Gotcha.
But we are not doing that. We are just connecting this straight so that I can plug in a cable here.
Cool.
Very hacky stuff. Not permanent, I don't think. It's just a prototype to see if we care about this this mod or not. And if we do, then I can probably build something better than this, perhaps even melting the wax. Anyway, I will need a third wire, so I need to get a wire, and I need to get solder. I got the soldering iron, and I didn't get the solder, so I'll see you in a moment.
Cool. Bo says, probably the same kind of wax that's in guitar pickups. Oh, so, okay, keeps it from vibrating. I guess I'm, like, still a hard, like, casing could stop that, but you're right. Yeah, this is probably, like, absorbing a little bit of external vibrations. Cool. I do not... I don't read comments in order, and I'm sorry if I missed anybody's comments. I'm too, whatchamacallit, ADHD to read in order. Are y'all having a good time? Are y'all thinking, wow, I'm learning so much. I'm going to get on the forums and insult people who say the resistor mod does anything? Maybe these days, because I have very little time to film and also my computer's getting shit, maybe I'll edit this stream down to a short video that people can watch. Maybe I'll do that.
Oh, I have a sponge that is dry. I will get some water.
This is getting serious, you know? I was looking at the other mod that they do where they remove the resonance disc. I don't know if Leandro hears me, but that's actually only for 57s. You can't do it with 58s. They don't have it.
Is there any question for me? Because I'm back just now.
No, I just saw that Bo had said that the wax is good because it like keeps the vibrations externally from affecting the sound.
Oh, so that's how they do, what is it called? Handling rejection?
Right.
That's fascinating. I didn't know that. So yeah, I got my soldering iron, and did you see something interesting? When I plugged in the soldering iron, it is plugged into the same wall outlet as everything else in my setup. So my camera turned off for a second. Did you see that?
I did not notice that. No, I was checking comments. So I think what I was seeing was like a little delayed. Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting? It really draws a lot of power. Right, okay, so we'll twist these ends. And I will also prepare a bit of cable here, green, for... there is another green in there, but anyway, for ground. About this.
Are you gonna solder the ground too?
I think I will. Yeah.
Okay.
I can also just... The ground is simple and not... I will definitely solder it here. But on the microphone, I can also just put some electric tape so that it's holding on to the the case of the microphone, I guess.
Okay, this time, Leandro, you entertain everybody. My cat is scratching on a door. I'll be right back.
All right, everyone. So here is the person with bare hands trying to get the insulation out of a cable. God damn it. Give up. Try again. We are pros here. And what do you all think? Have you made this mod before, you all in the chat? I'm not following the chat myself, but Arya will see your answers when he comes back. So have you tried this mod yourself, or have you played around with a modded microphone somewhere? Do you like the mod? Do you think it makes any difference? And also, do you have better technique when it comes to stripping wires and soldering? Because if so, don't tell me. I know you have better technique. Okay. Let's prepare ground first, because ground is easy. Ground is 1. Soldering iron. Is everything in the shot? Yes. Let's have this side out like this. Am I going to burn myself? Probably. It's all for your entertainment.
Yeah, I was selfishly thinking that. I'm like, if you get burnt, maybe this video will go viral.
I can do that. I can do. I don't have to do it on purpose. It will just naturally happen. Don't worry. We want ground to be number 1, which is this fellow here on the right. Never handle stuff with the soldering iron in your hands. That's a bad idea. Oh, come on, helping hands. On the store, they said that you would help. That you would help me, and you're not helping me.
Ooh, Toucan just dropped new plugins. Hell yeah.
Okay, it's in there.
Oh, it's so nice to look at.
And is it soldered correctly? No!
No.
You know what always fixes everything? More solder.
Mm-hmm. You know, my mom is an electrical engineer, and I used to go to her work where they had, like, you know, it's a factory, so they have like giant soldering machines that are super scary to even look at, but it's kind of fun.
You mean for like SMD stuff?
Yeah, she worked for LG, so they made like computer screens, they made like washing machines, all kinds of things, and their assembly lines had these giant soldering machines that did, like, you know, a bunch in a row and at the exact kind of same distances and things like that.
Nice.
But there were like so many signs around them, like if you get near here, you're fucked.
I wonder if I could solder to this middle pin, if that would work. Or I guess I can just put some electric tape here so that it is in contact. But I wonder, now I need to test this. Is this screw in contact with the rest? Is it part of the ground? I don't think it is.
No, I think it isn't.
Let's check. Yeah, it's disconnected. Thought so.
I think that keeps like all the capsule and things in place, but it's not connected to like the outer casing, right?
Yeah. That seems to be the case, yes. So now it doesn't matter in which order we put 2 and 3 here, because we don't know if it mattered in the first place. It probably does. It probably does. But let's try to get... I wonder if I should do the other two cables or if I should do the ground here. I think I will do the other two cables. I'll worry about the ground later.
Ground control to Major Tom.
And do you have an experience soldering, Arya?
Very little. Like in school, we had classes where we had to do it, and this is like, I mean, I'm talking about like primary school. And I did it, but I don't know. I was always like a little scared of it. Yeah, I was always a little scared of like trying it at home. I don't know. I'm like I'm too easily distracted by this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it in school
Electroboom,
too.
of course, Fotis.
I did it in school too, but I didn't practice a lot. I think I'm getting better though. It is quite fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the process. And I also learned that the smoke is not real, it doesn't contain lead. And that is peace of mind for me. Oh, I see that I am in front of the
nice.
solder I'm doing. Let me do this. So now it's better in the shot. Yeah, so I learned that I'm using solder with lead. That's the PB here. And I was afraid that I was poisoning myself, but it seems like the lead is not it's not part of the smoke that comes up. So it's okay. And there are other kinds that are lead free, but those tend to be harder to work with. You need a better soldering iron and probably better skills too. Lovely.
Electroboom, yeah, Fotis. I love that guy. He's also Iranian. He also lives in Canada. So yeah, he's
In
cool.
Vancouver even, right?
I think he lives in Alberta, if I remember right. But I'm not 100% sure.
You know what is 100% sure? This microphone is 100% sure. Well, no longer.
Hey!
It's no longer 100% sure. Now it's about
That's
25% Leandro and Arya. Okay, we could solder this third wire, the ground wire, to the chassis, but I think I would just put some electric tape there. In fact, I will turn off the soldering iron. Let's see if my camera is affected by this. Not this time. And you know what? I didn't know about Electroboom. I learned about his channel because of some YouTube recommendation about 1 month ago, and I binged watched his whole history. It's just so awesome. I love his videos.
He's great. I love him. Yeah, he's a cool guy too. By the way, speaking of content creators in Vancouver, you know who is in Vancouver is John Tidy.
Oh, really? And also,
Yeah,
Andrew Huang is not far. And also, I think that Samurai Guitarist is also near. So all the good folks are there.
That's right. Yeah. I always just assumed that Andrew Huang is in Toronto, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I am not really sure either. But you know what? I am thinking of moving from Portugal at some point in a couple years. And at the top of our list is Canada.
There's lots of Brazilians in Vancouver. My first 3 friends were all Brazilian here.
Oh, so maybe I have to pick another place then. Hey!
Hey, zoinks.
All right, did I do this right? Let's test for continuity between ground and the chassis. So between this and that. Am I in continuity test? I am. Is this working? It doesn't seem to be. So my little hack of just using electric tape doesn't seem to be holding up. Or
YouTuber rhymes with Vancouver.
yeah, this electric tape stuff is not holding up. But why not? It's definitely in contact. What's up with that? Hang on. Is this wire broken?
Does this wire even wire?
The wire is wire.
I think Leandro just cursed at us in Morse code. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep.
I guess my cable is too rigid. And it's not making contact. You know what?
Ah.
Let's solder to the body of this guy. It's the worst that can happen. Close enough. Soldering iron back on. Now let's see if the camera is gonna glitch.
Oh, you're soldering to the body of the mic.
Oh, I guess. Do you have a better idea?
Oh, you're brave. I guess if anything, at least maybe a marginally better idea is soldering it to the inside of there so that you're sure that it will still screw in later.
Well, how do I do that? Oh, I guess there is a bit of space, but it will be very hard to solder there.
Ah, okay.
Perhaps I can just shove it in. Let's see.
Here's an idea. Like, what if you just ignore the ground? Is that bad?
I think what will happen is... I think that the worst that could happen is I could get shocked by... I think the worst that could happen is I could get shocked by the microphone, I guess. But I don't care about that.
Electro Boom approves of this message.
Continuity between this and that.
By the way, if it suddenly got really loud in my mic, let me know, because they just started some kind of craziness outside my window.
Yeah, so you see, if I do this and just put it there in contact, it works. But the problem is, I think it would be hard to position, maybe.
Right.
It could be annoying.
What about you just wanted to use tape? Why don't you do that?
I guess I can try putting tape this way. That may help.
You won't be able to screw it back on with that tape in, but fine for the test, I guess.
Okay. I don't care. It would be easy to get solder out of the body.
Right.
What the hell? Why is that not working?
Thanks, Obama. Does anybody have any ideas?
If I hold it in place, then it's making contact, right? Not even then?
Leandro Arjan asks, why Canada? Yeah, why Canada?
Because it seems like... Ah, okay, it's making contact now. If I hold it in place, it's making contact. So let's just get more electric tape and not do the soldering. Why Canada? Because it seems like people there are nice and the quality of life is good and the pay is much better than in Europe. I work remotely, so that's not an issue for me, but my wife doesn't work remotely. So when she gets back to work, Canada seems like a good option. And it speaks English, right? So that's a plus.
What does your wife do?
She's a pharmacist. So there is no way she can work from home. Okay. This seems okay. So if it works, then I have continuity between this part and pin number 1.
I see you, Fatis. Thanks for being here. I'll message you about the video titles. Oh, Bo is thinking of moving to Portugal or Spain. Bo, do you speak Spanish or Portuguese some, or would you have to learn?
I think that the weather over here is better than in Sweden. but I don't fully recommend. I cannot recommend. I live here. I am planning on moving out. Unless you work remotely, then maybe.
I sometimes feel like I'm a bit too old to move to a country where I would have to learn the first language. And I know like Europeans, they all speak English. At least every European I've met does. But I'm not like, so crazy in love with Canada either. I gotta say, I think I'm moving to Mexico a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? What is it that you do not
Canada,
like about Canada, and why Mexico?
I think Canada is really expensive, and I feel like when I moved here, like nobody in Canada gave a shit about my degrees or work experience that I had accumulated in my life. So now I'm like 32, but it feels like, like, I don't know, it just feels like a lot of jobs see me as somebody who has basically no experience because I had very little experience in Canada. And it just feels like property prices go up so quickly. And it feels like if I do the math, I'm like, I'll never own a house in Canada. So I might as well just leave. Because honestly, like renting is how you lose all your money. And I want to at one point not rent anymore. So I think about like Mexico sometimes. That said, for my immigration situation, I will need to be in Canada for at least the next 5-6 years.
I see. Do you speak Spanish?
No, but I think I can like learn Spanish semi easily. Whereas like, yeah, I don't know what language would be like, I love Japan. I've always dreamed about living in Japan, but I feel like maybe the boat has sailed on that.
I see. Well, in other news, I fucking soldered the thing there and now it's making a contact. So hooray.
Nice.
That took long.
Mage recommended an elastic band, which is nice. And Bo says, get yourself a crocodile grip cable for your multimeter.
I have one.
Nice. Yeah, I think when you're like quickly checking a bunch of connections, then like the non-crocodile touchy-feely ones are kind of easier, right?
It depends on what you are doing. In this context, if, for instance, I was putting the probe in the cable on the female jack, so it was easier for me to use that kind of probe. But I do have a bag here with different kinds of probes. So, yeah, I have the crocodile ones there. This is hacky stuff, man. We are doing things in a hacky way. But anyway, here is a microphone, an entire microphone. And we are going to test it out. Do you want to start with the modded cable or the regular one?
Just regular, I guess. Isolate, the variables or whatever.
Yeah, okay. But I will keep this on because it was on before. And I will do another continuity test because I am... I don't know. I'm weirded out.
While you're doing that, Bo asks, why not Portugal?
Oh. Okay, everything seems okay. So what I expected to have, and I do have, is continuity between any metal part of the microphone that isn't coated. So like here on the grill. And the fucking solder that just came off. Ah, god damn it. I have to do it again. You know what? I'm just gonna leave the soldering iron on. So I don't have to turn it off and on.
Do you have to let it cool more? Is that the situation?
Let it cool? No, I just didn't want to waste energy.
Ah.
But anyway, I had continuity between any part of the microphone and the green wire, but I also have continuity between these two, the yellow and green, which is... Because remember, there is just a coil in here, but the yellow and green are shorted and they are sending opposite signals, but they are sending signals, so they are in continuity. So that works. Okay, let's do this one again. And why not Portugal? Well, I'll start with why Portugal, because Portugal has its upsides. I like some things about Portugal. I like
Yeah.
the food. I like the cost of living. I like the weather. Oh, come on. Why do you not want to stick there? It feels like there is something that is preventing the solder from sticking there. Is this what
Any
soldering...
tips or ideas, Bo, or other people?
It seems like it's actively trying not to stick in there. Is this what soldering... What is it called? That liquid. I bought some of it. I don't know exactly what it is for, but I think it is supposed to help with this soldering paste. Is this what it is? I don't know. I got it, and I'm not even sure how to use it.
Mate says it looks like aluminium alloy. Not good to solder to.
Fair enough. But it was there for a moment, so if I can put it back there and then use the electric tape, it should be good, right? Come on, melt.
Yeah, or an elastic band.
Come on, soldering iron. Oh, I
Use
just
the
turned you down.
side of the soldering machine.
God damn it.
Oh, Matteo says it's glossy metal inside with knife before soldering, like kind of like scrape it. Is that what you mean, Matteo? Ooh.
We're gonna put some electric tape so it doesn't come off. Prop that in there. Okay, so I said good things. Is it coming off already? Do I have continuity between this and that? I do. Electric tape. So good food, good weather, nice cost of living. It's relatively inexpensive to live here. Downsides. I don't think working here is worth it. The pay is too little, especially compared to something like Sweden. So I guess the cost of living is low if you are like me, living here but working for the US. And this is debatable, but I don't love people here. I don't make a lot of friends here. They're the kind of people who will... Random strangers will stop you on the street and tell you you should be doing something differently. Like, you should be not walking here, but walking on the other side. Or you should put shoes
I
on
don't
your
like
baby when it's hot and the baby doesn't really need to be wearing shoes. He would probably be annoyed by the shoes. So that kind of thing, they are just always being... I would say mean. People here are mean. Same as in Brazil, actually.
Like two in each other's business kind of deal, right?
Yeah, and I loved how people in the US were much more like minding their own businesses, and I love minding my own business. I'm much of an introvert. I don't like speaking to strangers, and I don't like strangers telling me how to do stuff. Anyway, I think I got it. It's not gonna come off now, hopefully. We'll see. So now there
Some
was
good
continuity.
tips in the comments, though.
Oh, yeah, I will check the whole chat after this is over. Right now I'm too focused, but I will read the whole thing after the stream is over. But yeah, so Portugal, I don't love it. And if you don't speak the language, it's going to be difficult, right? It's not going to be impossible. People here speak English, but it's going to be more difficult. So, yeah.
Do you feel like the government of Portugal is very enlightened? I feel like the way it comes across internationally is like a very cool government, but sometimes also governments come off as really cool until you live there and you're like, oh, not cool at all, like Canada.
Yeah, they're okay.
I always thought Canada's a very, yeah.
They don't have a lot of money over here, so you expect some things to not work as well as in maybe other places it would. But, I mean, they are on the right side of things, I would say.
Nice. That's
and
kind of
people may be
nice.
wondering, what's up with this fourth pin? It's supposed to be connected to the barrel here. So I took this out. That's why I was not showing the fourth pin. The fourth pin is supposed to be connected here. I think it's shorted to ground, actually.
Like the screw goes through that, right? If you were to connect it.
Yeah, and the point of having two I think that these are shorted to ground, and I think that the point of having two connections to ground is like a fail-safe. So if this wire breaks, you have another connection to ground, and you don't shock yourself with the mic. So let's do a continuity test to prove that this is the case. So if there was a screw in here... Nope, it does not connect to anything. Oh well. What do I know? Anyway, this seems to be the right connections that we want to make. So let's put this to test finally.
Let's check it out. Oh, Arjun says come to Istanbul. I would never leave Istanbul if it wasn't for Tayyip / the economy, which is kind of Tayyip's fault. It felt like things were going in a weird direction. So I was like, I'm out.
So we are going to start with the cable that has no electric tape. That's a cable without any modifications.
Regular old cable.
Looking forward for this test because I know that it will make a much bigger impact on the sound.
Yeah, this has got to do something.
Okay, we are in.
Sorry, everybody, for my knees.
So now for the final continuity test, from pin 1 here, I should be able to connect to the ball of the microphone there, if my connections are good. And pin 1 is the one on the left. I find it very difficult that on the female it's the other way around. It's on the one. The number 1 is the one on the right, so I always get confused. There you go, continuity. And just for the sake of it, here is yellow and here is green, hot and cold. Oh, come on.
You're hot and you're cold. You're doinks and you're donkey. We wake up. Doink.
Oh, I had the wrong wire. Continuity. God damn it.
Oof. That was scary, huh?
What? There you go. Okay, continuity between the two parts. Okay, we have it. We have it. Gentlemen. We have it. So now let's plug this Frankenstein into my audio interface and hope that nothing blows up. Phantom power is off. And we are in, and no smoke. Good.
Noise.
I think I'm safe to stop wasting energy on my soldering iron now, because we are not going to touch this circuit again. Okay, you can cool off, you little guy. Okay, so this is what's up. We are going to do first the frequency response test and then some listening tests.
Oh, hey, we got John Matthews from Toucan Plugins in the house. How's it going, John?
So that was the baseline. This was the... What was it? Let's save. So this was the resistor mod. Oops, I moved the microphone a little. Okay. I will get into measurement mode, so I will not be able to hear you for a moment.
That's all right. It's like waiting for a SpaceX launch. Yeah, it took a while, so this better be fucking worth it, or I'm gonna go to Gear Space and give everybody a piece of my mind. Oh yeah, you just released a new plugin. I think Fotis mentioned it earlier in the stream. I'm very excited to check it out. I honestly haven't gotten as much time as I would have want to, even on the stuff that you already have out. Yeah, I want to spend a lot more time with it. What? Something weird happened. Oh, the launch is... Okay. Just try it again. Oh, Paradise. Never heard of it. Oh, Rue seemed to have pooped the bed. Something's happening. I'm not sure if Leandro hears me. I wonder if it's because like it can't grab a hold of your interface. Though that's a Windows problem. It's not really a Mac problem. AFAIK. But let's just see if doing it again.
Hello again.
Hello, what's going on? Why did the colors all change? It went to dark mode, your REW.
Yeah, I think it's because it's getting late.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yeah, I have that setting that changes to dark mode when it's evening.
Nice.
So, isn't this weird? I double checked everything to make sure that I was getting... So let's get in here so you can see. When I tap into the microphone, you can see that I have the right microphone. I have the right speakers and everything.
Yeah.
Everything is set up correctly. But I don't see a lot of difference.
But what happens when you run the test? Does it still say we couldn't find your input?
Oh, no, that was weird, but I just restarted Real and it worked. Because I checked here in Reaper that I have signal coming in, right? I can tap the modded microphone and I can see signal on this left one. So that's all right. I just restarted Real. In fact, one thing to know about Room AQ is that it is a bit buggy. It does sometimes give you an error, like Java null pointer exception kind of error, and I just restart and it goes back to normal, but it is something to be aware of. It will crash once or twice, and this time it couldn't pick up sound from my microphone for whatever reason, but it's picking up sound now, see? I tap into the microphone and it's listening that. So, and I was able to run the tests and it did produce a graph. But the graph, well, one thing that I didn't say is that I had to increase the gain on my speaker a lot more for it to say that the levels were good. So one thing that we expected to see was the microphone would be more gain hungry, and it seems to be. It does want more gain.
And that's kind of SM7BE.
Fair,
which people say this mod does. So this is just a differential, and it's not looking very different.
It is not. And you may be wondering, well, why did you increase the volume on the speaker instead of increasing the gain on the microphone? And that is because since the beginning, I have been running all microphones with 100% gain on my audio interface, which, by the way, for the sake of the record here, it is an Audient ID14 Make 2. So that's what this is. And I'm running everything with 100% gain, as I always do, 100% of gain on all microphones all dynamic microphones on this thing. So I had no further gain to give to the microphone, and I had to increase the volume of the speaker instead. But this is the curve we are looking at, and it does not look very different.
You know what's interesting to me? The resistor mod was supposed to make everything brighter, and it changed the low end more. And now it feels like I'm seeing like quite a bit of activity in the high end, and not much in the low end. So what up with that?
Very weird indeed. Right, so now let's do a listening
Nate
test.
says that with the transformer gone, the phase graph should be different. So maybe can we take a quick look at the phase graph too?
And I guess it's doing to the phase the same it does to the magnitude. So I think that it's showing like 0 degrees for most of it, and then it starts introducing some phase differences at the upper frequencies. So can we zoom into this? Yeah, so you can see even up to 120, which is a lot of change. It's not 180, but it's a lot of phase differences. So yeah, good point.
Interesting.
Because I zoomed out too much. There is a way for me to set the limits to fit the data. Well, turn off the phase limits, fit the data. No, I don't know how to get back to that original view we had.
I think you just did it, or
it's around here, something like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a lot of change. But let's do a listening test, and this time we notice that there is a bit of a difference between the microphones. So perhaps let's do the regular unmodded versus modded, but also let's see between what we get here and the modded. Oh, we didn't record this microphone without any mods.
Fine.
Whatever. Let me make sure that this is not outputting, and it's not, but both are enabled for recording. And then let's get this Frankenstein close to me.
You know, one thing we should have done was to do something where the source that we're recording is always the same, like just recorded something on your phone and always kept it in the same distance, but whatever. Again, we're looking for very significant differences. So if the difference is hard to measure, it's worthless to do IMO.
And here is something. Look at the gain, or look at the level. It is different. I'll put it on this view because it's side by side. It's easier to spot. The modded one is a bit lower, but not by 12 dB. It is much less than 12 dB.
That's true.
It's less.
Yeah,
it is
like
quieter, but not by a whole lot.
Yeah, 5-ish, something
and
like that.
And it's noisier. Perhaps because I'm holding it with my hand, but I don't have two mic stands that I can prop up real quick here. But perhaps it's handling noise. But it is weird. It is certainly interesting. All right. Okay, I have the whole thing here. Let's start a recording. I should have been recording this whole time so we would have stuff to listen to. But anyway, so the difference in loudness is not that much, and the measurements are not that different. And we can see the REQ curves bouncing up and down. I don't see a lot of difference there either, but
I do see the modded, again, has like a lot of, like below 50 hertz, I see quite a significant difference. Do you see that?
I suppose, but it is very subtle. I don't know. And also there is
It's not massive.
Yeah, there is a big difference in the DC offset, I would say. The DC offset of the modded version is higher, right? Okay, I think I have enough of recording. So let me just gently put this down. There it is. And turn both of them off. And then we can enable this and actually give it a listen. Why do I have this weird item there?
It got taked up in one place around measure 73. You see it has 2 takes?
Yeah,
I have no idea why.
But why?
But I can just, I think because your edit cursor was a bit over that single file that you recorded. So it recorded in takes. Like when you started recording, you weren't at the end of the item. You were near the end of the item, but still inside the item.
Okay, so
It's
we should
whatever.
move this there,
Yeah.
and we should probably take this out and extend this again, like so. Okay, now we have
It's whatevs.
this. Let's normalize to minus 23. I noticed that the beginning here was
Tip is
cut off.
missing.
So let's normalize again, because I don't know what this action does
Yeah.
when you have an item that has a different start point. Yeah, it changed.
It does change things, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's give it a listen. I have been recording this whole time, so we would have... Oh, okay. I was thinking, oh, there will be a difference in loudness. I just normalized loudness. Recording. I should have been recording this whole time, so we would have stuff to listen to. But anyway, so the difference in loudness is not that much, and the measurements are not that different. And we can see the REQ curves bouncing up and down. I don't see a lot of difference there either. But
I mean, definitely a huge difference.
yeah. But one thing we did is we recorded this guy. This was recorded without mods, right? Because we are calling this the mod microphone, but I swapped the cables in this test, didn't I?
Yeah.
So this is just vanilla SM58. Let's compare this to that. Or was it this test? I forget. God damn
That
it.
one that is just a single item, that was when you just switched the cables out.
Oh, okay. Let's try to do regions here. How do I do a region?
Shift T.
And this is
Or Shift R, or maybe I made it Shift T.
edit region. So this was mod equals modded cable. Then this is create region from selection is Shift R. So this is... So in this one I just swapped, right?
I think so, yeah.
So this is mod equals normal and unmodded equals modded cable, oddly enough. This is just modded cable.
It was modded cable on the other mic, basically.
Oh, and in this case, I still have the modded cable on the other mic. I didn't change.
Right. So we're doing we're doing like... SM58 always surprises me. Yeah, SM58 sound really good. I feel like if SM58s were always $300, nobody would ever doubt them. I don't know.
Okay, whatever. I'm still using the modded cable on the regular unmodded microphone. But anyway, I think we have here, if you're watching this, you can rewind and check for us. But I think that I recorded this without any modification.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So let's listen. Yes, so I am back. And these are now the two same microphones from before, but recording this whole time so we would have stuff to listen to. But anyway, so the difference in loudness is not that much, and the measurements are not that different. And we can see the REQ curves bouncing up apart, because I wanted to know if this other SM58 that I had was a good baseline for justifying the whole stream, actually. And I tested, and it seems to be okay. So I don't think measurements are not that different. And we can see the REQ curves bouncing
I'll tell
up
you
and
what
down.
I hear. In the fourth region, on the orange item, I hear a super low end, like whoop, 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 whoop kind of thing.
Oh, really?
You hear that?
I don't hear that.
Yeah,
I hear much more of a
whoop, whoop,
difference on the high end. It seems like
Yeah, for sure.
it gets, I don't know, less defined. I don't love what it's doing.
Yeah,
All
it's
this is-
doing something, but I
Yeah.
can't like exactly quantify.
I'll try to hear the low end stuff you're talking about. It's like Rumble, right?
Yeah.
but the modded version is not using the modded cable, so it's not really modded anymore. And I did this very test. Difference in loudness is not that much, and the measurements are not that different. And we can see the REQ curves bouncing up and down. I don't see a lot of difference there either, but I don't hear the low-end stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else hears it. It's like a very low, like kind of thing. It's not like a constant sound. It comes and goes. It could be just handling. Mastering the boxes. Well, null tests won't work because also I think the two signals you're recording may have phase differentials because they are next to each other, but like your sound like propagates that way. I mean, we should do it just for giggles.
Yeah, I can always do a polarity inversion if it helps.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you see like that bump right there after 102, you can see that it's the polarity is like almost inversed. Or I shouldn't say polarity, there's a phase differential.
Well, it seems like a polarity thing. So here is just as recorder playing both at the same time. Recording, I should have been recording this whole time so we would have stuff to listen.
It's like halfway phasey, yeah.
Let's look at the waveform. And
yeah, you see?
I don't know. It looks to me like if I invert the polarity, they will match very well.
Quite well, yeah. And,
So
and
let's do
they're
that.
not exact, which is nice.
So F2 and then invert the polarity. It's not reverse, it's invert phase. Okay. Now the visual match is much better. And it shouldn't get as... we shouldn't hear the comb filtering so much anymore. It should work better with one another. I have been recording this whole time so we would have stuff to listen to. And then if I guess I invert the polarity again. So I was doing the null test before, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you
But
have
yeah,
it.
no, I like that. Somehow this makes more sense.
Yeah, so...
Mage says, I don't hear much difference after YouTube has had its way with audio. Which, I mean, we should still, like, if the difference is significant, we should still hear it. Now, I'm hearing Leandro through Video Ninja and not through YouTube, technically. But, like, yeah, I feel like that would be, like, if these mods are these crazy things that you should try out, it should really show through all of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and maybe it does show through when you are using it on a different source. So I encourage people to do this, and I wanted to do this on the stream to show that it's not that difficult. Yes, I stumbled, I have bare hands, but within a couple hours, you can try for yourself. Additionally, I will make all these recordings available so you can load the Reaper project and listen for yourself, and they are even very well documented. So great stuff.
Cool.
Okay. Any other tests that you think we should do?
Alessio says, maybe a stupid question. Do you think that in-home studio you need an SM58 even if you have a better 58? Well, no. But like, like if you ever get like $100 that you want to part with, like why not? If anything, I would get an SM57 and then have a better 58. Not that they're like much different or any different at all, but just like the round head of a 58 in some situations is like a little too fat if you want to put it on a snare bottom or something. There's even SM57s that are L-shaped, so the body of mic goes like this and the head of the mic goes this way, which is good for like putting it on like a snare top without the back of the mic kind of hitting the bottom of your hi-hat, things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, no, but want always. That's my opinion.
Yeah, what I'm learning from testing microphones and listening to people on YouTube who test microphones is that it really is true when they say that the microphone doesn't matter as much as the space. There is this podcastage test of it was a April 1st joke of one of those cheap desk microphones that people used in the 90s. And in his setup, in his room, it doesn't sound that bad. I mean, if you are recording something other than voiceover and you are going for something beyond intelligibility, you are like trying to get the character of the microphone, or you're trying to get that extended response of maybe a delicate acoustic instrument, then yeah, by all means, different microphones will make a big difference. But for things like what I do, it doesn't matter that much. It really does not. And it is more like for me at least, when I look at my beautiful Rode Procaster, I love the way it looks. It is nice to work with gear that looks good and feels nice, and it's heavy and it feels like you're doing something important. So it's much more a luxury than a necessity. It is for fun. It's a hobby. It's not that you need other microphones.
Jacob says the transformer mod is removing it. Sounds nice and neutral. Removing what do you mean? And he says, I feel like there's some clarity, neutrality to the transformer mod that would make it better. Yeah, I feel like there is something to the transformer mod for sure. The resistor thing, I'm not like fully convinced, but again, like they do sound different. I'd be interested if we get like, I don't know, one thing we can do is like a white noise on your phone, put it in front of both mics, and then we can kind of look at what it does.
Do you want to do the speaker instead?
REWs. Yeah,
can we do
fun,
the speaker instead? Okay, so
sure.
I'll
Just
set that
for
up
giggles.
for you. Yeah, I'll set that up for you. So we'll have.
See you, Smudge. Thanks for being here.
We will enable both of these.
Oh, and John says Beta 58 is supercard. Oh, yeah, you're right. So it is a different sound, yeah. I'm thinking like if I got a home studio and I don't want 20 mics, I want like vastly different mics. That's the way I always kind of see it. So I would go for something that's just super different. Like at the range that Shure SM series are, or, there's not many other mics. There is the Sennheiser has a guitar amp mic that I own. I think it's E609. It's also like $115 and pretty nice, pretty convenient for guitars. Yeah. I like having vastly different mics. And Leandro's doing stuff, so I'll just say more things. John says, I picked a SM58 from the bottom of an old cable case. Nice. That's also something I'm very interested in, like comparing an SM58 made in 2010 to one made like much earlier, because people always say there's a difference, and I do think, I don't know if all manufacturers do this, but definitely like new electronics feel flimsier, and that's because, like, I don't know, people want stuff to break and for you to buy another one, and back in the day this wasn't as much a thing. So I'd be interested in comparing that to a new one. But again, I don't know if like the sound differential is like huge. And SM mics, even the newer ones, like you just slap them around and they don't die. So they're not really like breakable stuff. But yeah, I'd be interested in testing that. Yes, yeah, they may sound funny. Yeah. Where I'm working now, like there's a lot of older mics. And then there are mics that broke, so they had to change them. So we have a few wireless Beta 58s, if I'm not mistaken. And so with that, the newer ones are better. But I would say the difference is in the like wireless transmitter receiver has seen like leaps that the older one don't see, but I don't know if the mic itself is much different. But they always say like, yeah, use as many new ones before you reach for the older ones.
So you all can hear me, right? We are back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So I did what Ari asked for. I used the same speaker, but I put the two microphones in front of white noise. And we don't need to hear it. Do you want to hear that?
Right.
Just
No,
want to see that.
we know what white noise sounds like. Yeah, I just want to see it.
So here is nothing. I guess I will put them. No, I want to see them as large as I can, but at the same time, I want to have control over this window to start playback. So hey, I cannot do both, can I? I can.
Also, one thing that overall maybe just like a nice kind of plus of doing stuff like this is like in a mix, right? Like we know they sound different. We don't know exactly how, but in a mix, then if you have like two things that you recorded, one with the modded version and one with the unmodded version, maybe they kind of sit nicer together than if you record both of them with the same mic. You know, maybe just a slight contextual kind of plus for it.
Yeah. Well, here it is. So the modded version seems less even, and it does seem less. The high end.
We're not
seems more
seeing it,
controlled.
by the way.
Oh. Thanks for pointing it out.
There
Here
we
it
go.
is.
So I do see a loudness difference too.
I didn't normalize this too. Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay.
I will. Yeah, there is a very large.
Massive, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
when
say
I was
this
recording.
is like a large...
Yeah, unfortunately, I
Sorry,
didn't
go
have
on.
the screen on. I forgot to move to the other scene in OBS so that you could see the tests. But when I actually did the whole setup here, I could see that the meters were very different when recording. You can tell.
Yeah, so there you go. That's about 12 dB.
It is, isn't it? Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
something.
The gain is the same on the interface, so I don't know. Anyway, this is what it looks like. So to me, it seems like the modded version is less even. There are more ups and downs. And it seems like the high end is also more controlled. The unmodded version has this kind of V shape. But take all of this
you're
with
talking about around 5K?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even 1K has an even more pronounced V shape on the unmodded version. But take this with a lot of... it's not just a grain of salt. It's a lot of grains of salt. Because I am recording this with this particular speaker in this particular environment. So all of those variations we tried to get rid of using this setup. But here we don't have any of that. You're just seeing the curve of the microphones. So...
What I'm seeing is the modded version in like 300 to 1K is a lot louder, it seems. Do you see that?
Yep.
Which I was expecting it to be, just because people say the low end gets better. I was expecting to see a lot more difference in like under 100. But I'm not seeing much. There's a little for sure.
Yeah, it seems like the unmodded has more energy below 100.
If anything, right? Yeah.
The frequency response is... It's similar, but it goes further into the bass on the unmodded, it seems to me. And
Bo says you have two different housings for the mics. That may play a part. Yeah, plays
absolutely.
a part for sure.
Yeah, for that factor, I guess the thing I should do is take out the wax and then take out the transformer and put some wax back in. Right?
Yeah. But I mean, there is a huge difference. There are like big dips in the modded version, which again to me like contributes to them possibly like sitting in a mix better with another element that's recorded with the unmodded version. It would like be kind of fun how they like interplay. But honestly, again, I was thinking the difference would be massive, and it's not massive.
It isn't. Do you think it's more SM7B like?
Now that's a question, because SM7B's like frequency response overall is like very similar in the low end and quite dissimilar in the high end.
When you say similar and dissimilar, you mean in relation to the modded version or the unmodded or something else?
Oh, I guess in relation, because I'm just looking at the frequency response of the regular ones against next to each other. So I don't know, but like not much SM7B, that's for sure.
For sure.
Do you have any comment on the new iPhone microphones compared to SM58? I will say this. You know, you were saying earlier, like a cheap mic tested in a good room. Like iPhone microphones sound so good. And I mean, like an iPhone is an expensive thing and it has a lot more than the mic, but the mic sounds good. And also like laptop microphones on MacBooks, they sound really, 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 really good. Like we used to go to this like rehearsal space and we would just record with like one iPhone. And you had like a lot of separation. Like it sounded pretty nice. It wasn't like great, but like we just wanted to kind of remember what we played in case we need to reference it again. Sounded really good in like a semi well treated room. So I think good.
Yeah. So for me, in conclusion, I think the myth is busted. It is, in my opinion, at least for voiceover, it's not worth doing these mods. They don't change the sound that much. Now, it is interesting that you can take a whole component out of a microphone and it still behaves mostly the same. So it is kind of fun. I guess it's not the same because of the gain and because of the phantom power thing. But
yeah.
You could release an SM58 that is a bit cheaper and doesn't contain a transformer.
Yeah, like $10 cheaper or whatever much a transformer costs. Now so the other mod is like people replace the transformer with like a telephone kin one. I'm like that better make a fucking difference.
After
you know,
doing
like
this
if
test,
that doesn't make
comparing what I read online to my tests, and that transformer is almost the price of the microphone. It's around $80 to get the transformer.
Whoa.
So at that point,
so
just get a different mic.
Right. I am interested though, you know, like in trying something like the modded transformerless and then a regular one, and then like record like an acoustic guitar or like something with them, and then like you know, just like using it in the context of a mix. I think it does do things, but I also think you know, and a lot of these things, it's like I feel like audio people tend to exaggerate the difference in things. Like, oh man, like my mixes were all shit, and then I bought a FabFilter EQ, and now my mixes are all top notch. I'm like, they were never shit at the beginning, and now definitely like they're not. You know, like people exaggerate. I'm sure there's a difference. I'm sure you're more comfortable working in it, and I'm sure you like improved as an engineer or whatever. You improved at mixing while you also bought like a Pro Q3, but like come on.
Yeah. All right, the myths are busted. Any other tests we should do?
I mean, I would like to do tests like with musical elements and stuff like that. I do have to go now, so I mean, maybe another time.
Yeah, we have been here for 3 hours.
Yeah, Um, but yeah, hey, this was very interesting to me, and it's just interesting to like see cable stuff. I like opening things up that you normally don't open up. You know, that's fun to me.
Yeah. As the point again that I was trying to make with this whole thing is it's not that difficult, it's not that hard. And even if you don't know what you're doing, just go ahead and try it. It is fun. And
Yeah.
it's great to have you back on YouTube, Arya.
Yeah, let's make this more of a weekly thing. Now, some Tuesdays I do work, but you know, especially since I can't make like videos so well anymore, and these days I have to like capture screen in one pass and then record myself in another pass and then edit them together. It's a whole thing. So, but I think I can like spend 3 or 4 hours streaming every week. So, let's try to stream. Maybe next week, same time, we stream, we do something, we write some scripts.
Yes, let's do that. And good luck with the moving and finding a place and maybe going to Mexico, but good luck with all that.
Yeah, thanks. John says he does his voiceover with U87. Still doesn't sound that good. I feel like with U87 and I know your room sounds great. But like, if there's any mic that sounds great in a good studio and then sounds like garbage in a not good studio, it's like a U87. You know, I used to rent U87s, and then I would just record at home with them and be like, this sucks. Like a much less expensive mic had a much more negligible like difference from home to not home. The U87s are just super sensitive, right? So maybe that's why. That said, I did actually think that your voiceovers sound great, and I wouldn't have thought they were a U87. So interesting.
All right. Let's say our last goodbyes.
Thanks everybody for being here. We'll do more. You know, let us know if there's like a topic you want us to do. Otherwise, we may script. We may, talk about Macs or whatever, you know.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And if I may plug my own channel, then tomorrow we have the C++ Digital Signal Processing Study Group meeting. So if you're interested in these topics, or if you're just interested in writing real-time audio effects in Reaper using JS effects, or if you're interested in electronic stuff, we'll be doing more of that in my channel. So head on that.
Tell me, by the way, how the C++ is going before we leave.
Oh, yeah. So we have a variety of outcomes. We have Siwitz, who is doing his own DAW. He's doing his own engine. And in a Raspberry Pi connected to an Ableton Push, so the Ableton Push is able to connect, and the Raspberry Pi is a standalone thing. Super cool.
Sick.
And then we have me. I am taking the tangent of learning about electronics now, and I am making some progress with the Auto Mixer. I was able to figure out all the roadblocks. Now I am figuring out all the details in JS effects, but I am confident I will be able to translate to C++. And I learned the language in a high level. I'm not proficient in it. When I need to do anything as simple as converting a string into an integer, I still have to look up things on Stack Overflow. But I have a grasp of what's going on. And Fotis is reading a C++ book too. And Bo has been able to download and install Juice and run. I think he was able to compile. I don't remember, but I think he was able to compile and run a VST using Juice. So everyone is making progress, and we all started in different places, so progress looks different to us, but we are all making progress. So and it is a lot of fun. Fotis always has a bunch of new things he shares, and I'm doing the electronic stuff, so I did a passive low-pass filter. I showed how to calibrate a sound card with Room EQ Wizard. So lots of stuff happening.
Nice. Very exciting. Cool, yeah. And well, people, go check out Leandro's channel. The link is in description. and take care of yourselves, and to go try this stuff at home.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching the stream. You know how great it has been. Or maybe it sucked, and I am glad that you stuck with me. And so we'll all will be back together for some more coding or talking or chilling. The next time I'll be streaming.